This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG, Willie Mason, and the bro, Lukey Stowe. We are 2 versus 1. Origin, New South Wales versus Queensland. It's normally me and Lukey against Mace. Eels Tragics against the Bulldogs OG. But this time of the year, Lukey flips onto your side.
Yeah,
he's a blue.
Very disappointed if he wasn't going for the Blues.
He's a blue, and
Blues fucking. He's
I'm a proud Maroon, blood and bone Maroon. What?
I don't know. No.
Hey, but before we get to Origin, let's talk about the Ashes at the end of the year. So, got a message here from Eurofits. Love the potty, lads, and just booked at Wanderers for the 3 Ashes test package. He'll be with all three of the best. Not great at golf, but we'll be happy to play around with you boys throughout the week. Mace, you have another Toronto Scorpion coming on the tour, mate. I'm a little older than you by 6 years. Haven't lived down that way for ages, but you can't take the Tronner out of the boys. 100%. Is that the way you say it? Toronto? I thought that might be like a slang way to say it. Toronto
West.
Stopping in at Thailand on the way across for a bit of a warm-up and some pre-game drinks. So, Eurofits, we'll see you on the way over there. For those that aren't aware or just tune in for the first time, we are going over for the Ashes at the end of the year. There are 3 different packages. It kicks off on the 22nd of October. You can go to all 3 games. Or you can go to the first 2, which will be at Headingley and Everton, Wembley and Everton, or you can go to the last 2, a 2-game package, starting at Everton and finishing, which we keep saying we think will be a decider at Headingley and Leeds. So, Eurofits, whatever your real name is, maybe you can let us know in the comments for the next episode as well. Thanks for joining us, brother. We're really looking forward to that, Mace. And we said we would put together our teams or our Aussie team, our predicted Aussie team off the back of
the Origin
teams that have been announced. But I reckon we got to see it.
I reckon there's not enough Aussies.
What do you mean by that, Loki?
Well, everyone's going to Tonga, Samoa, which is great.
Ooh, a bit in that.
No, I love it.
Bit in that from the Anglo-Saxon.
Give us the Anglo over there. Old Anglo, the bro.
It's a good point, right? There are a number of players, and there's all this chat too. This is a little bit off, a little bit of a tangent, but this is where we do our best work. There was a little bit of chat recently around AJ Brimson because he only played in a 9 system that's no longer around. He's selected to play for England. I've seen a few comments about that. There's mixed reviews about the feeling about AJ Brimson because he's,
from the English it should be.
Well, he's represented Queensland. It's a little bit different from Radley. Like the way that they're comparing it to Radley, and it's up to AJ. No one knows how AJ Brimson feels about representing England,
so
right?
You can't say it.
But they're saying the difference is Radley never represented New South Wales and made the decision and made a huge decision to forego playing State of Origin and New South Wales. So that's why he was welcomed with open arms. There's a little bit of hesitancy from bringing in Brimo after playing for Queensland.
I totally understand why.
No doubt he's going to be pumped to represent.
That's the coaching and selecting, right? You pick AJ,
he's also not a guarantee, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you want to pick him, this is what comes with it.
I think he'll make it, but he's not a guarantee.
Fuck, he'd be scary.
Well, we were talking before the show started. I was on YouTube last night and a little video popped up. New South Wales pick Max King. Does this end his England hopes? And this is from, I bet they're Levels listeners because we speak a lot of the UK, the Rugby League Outsiders podcast over there. Yep. Super League podcast.
All right.
Yeah. Apparently Max King was a chance for England.
He was born in England.
Born in England.
I'm not sure how old he was when he came over here.
I think he was pretty young, but he still qualified.
Yeah. That doesn't matter, yeah. Same as me. Oh, actually, it's different.
I was 5 when I come over.
I got a kill. Yeah, yours, so it'd be similar to you.
Yeah. So I never felt like that New Zealand was my home because my dad was Australian. So I don't know if he's born there and if his dad's a proper Englishman.
Can you see?
Or his mum?
Can you ask ChatGPT if there's
no, we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, good work. Good work.
That would throw a spanner in the works, wouldn't it? If he wanted to, I honestly wouldn't think he wanted to if he's trying to play Origin. That would make me think if he can play Origin, that means he doesn't qualify for England
for now.
Yeah, he doesn't.
For now, because he hasn't played for Australia, so he could still play Origin, then say, for example, he's not a part of the Origin team next year, World Cup year, go back to England.
Here we go.
But he wouldn't be able to then come back and play for New South Wales. How old is Max King?
Yeah.
Max King is 28. Here we go. Okay. He was
He's
born
not
in
going
the
to play a
home.
shitload more Origins, right?
No.
Unless he brains it. Sorry, mate.
Born in the home of rugby league, Huddersfield.
Oh, yeah, Huddersfield. Wow.
His father, David, was a former professional rugby league player for the Huddersfield Giants.
Yeah, I know that.
Mother's from Dewsbury. He lived in Huddersfield until
That's
7.
Burgess territory.
Right, he's a
Dewsbury.
proper pom.
Yeah.
He's a proper pom, Max King.
And his great-grandfather played for South.
Yeah, he's from good cattle.
7-time premiership winner
Yeah.
with St. George. And his father, David, played the Gold Coast Seagulls for 91 and 92.
Yeah, he's from good cattle.
You don't
He's
get that
really
on
good
ChatGPT.
cattle. Yeah, really good. Well done, Luke.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah,
so he
ChatGPT.
moved here at
No,
7.
that's Google. You've done Google, haven't
That's
you?
Wiki.
Wiki. See, you go back to the old school, Luke.
back to the
ChatGPT and AI
encyclopedia.
ain't working. That's the go.
I'm getting the encyclopedia.
Get the Britannicas out. Yeah, well, he's from good cattle, and he's obviously born over there because his old man was playing there. He's met a
You could argue he's a turncoat
Englishman.
playing for New South Wales.
yeah.
You could. That's what they weren't off him, but they were definitely
I'm only
upset.
kidding. Relax, people.
They were
We're all
definitely
pumped for him.
looking forward to having him play for England at the back end of the year, but now it's obviously a little bit of a
That's
spanner
up in the
works.
air. That's up to Max King. That's a Max King decision,
Jeez,
right?
you know, yeah, 100% it is.
That's
Because he
like,
hasn't
okay.
represented Australia. So that's the difference, right? So if he can get to, if he finishes a good series and there's
Yeah.
a chance, and we're about to talk
Dogs
about
win the
TERRELL.
comp.
We're about to
Dogs
talk.
win the comp, something like that. Max
Let me
King
bring
might
it
find
back.
himself-
This is the YouTube channel Rugby League Outsiders.
Rugby League Outsiders, there
Maybe
you
we
go.
link up with them over while we're in the UK.
Well, let's look into them.
Let's just
first,
see
you know,
how-
like, we're gonna
They
go
look
see
See how
right.
I'm feeling
I've got-
today,
We've only,
mate.
we've only got one
I've
article.
got a good
Luke.
read. I've got
Okay,
a
you
good
got a
read.
good read
I've got
on
a
it?
good read.
You can turn up.
Okay. You're the special guest then. That's your
Stowe.
read. And then we'll see how that podcast
I could be in
goes.
fucking Amsterdam, mate.
We're not committing to anything.
I'm not committing to anything right now.
This is Triple IG over
Fuck,
here.
who are you talking to? Oh, shit. I'm in
All
Europe.
right. All the replies and the biggest replies off the back of our episode were around TERRELL May.
Yep.
And we've got a couple of good, I guess, constructive replies and just some questions around some stuff that I remember I was thinking at the time on the video, and then we just didn't really speak about it. So the first one comes from Richard Purvis. Hey lads, love your work, and the advice you were given for May is spot on. Just for context, later in the stream, he says he hopes New South Wales will smash Queensland and mentions something along the lines of him playing for New South Wales is on God's time. I think he's just saying that it's not his time yet and implying he still has work to go for it. I think people in the media are looking for any excuse to undermine him, and this has given it to them.
Yeah.
Good
That's
message.
context, right?
Good context.
That is very good context. And that what he said is taken out of
Yep.
context. Throw the New South Wales jersey in the bin, put that in context. Now we understand what he means.
Yes. So for younger guys, so we always talk about older guys understanding the dynamics and the landscapes of new media, right?
Yep.
They don't understand it. It's
foreign, they
It's
don't wanna
foreign
know
to
it.
them, so therefore they reject it. And that would be, and we'll get to this in a bit, a part of the decision. Younger guys coming through, you have to understand that the OGs, older guys in media, they only need a snippet.
Yeah.
They're not going to put the
Yeah.
full thing in there.
Yes.
That's how old media works.
Yeah.
So younger guys, sharpen up. Be smart. Realize that people were trying to get you, even though there are new forms of media that will support you. Sharpen up and realize that old media will grab a little bite.
That's all they need.
That's what everyone sees. People who may be willing to delve into it a little bit more, try to get more context about it, they're not as loud. So there's lessons going both ways,
Yep.
right, for that. And off the back of this. So
That's well said,
here's
that.
another one,
Very well said,
RGW.
Oz.
Let's talk about the guy who texted me. How did he get that information? Why was it his to tell and not Laurie? Should it have been a personal conversation with Laurie? I'll jump onto this one quickly.
yeah.
I thought this as well. Apparently, it was just rumors and text messages.
It was something off of fucking Instagram or something like that.
Something like that.
Like May's out or
Yep. But and this is my I guess I'd be pushing back on this comment as well, because of the form TERRELL was in. I would have liked there to have been a conversation with TERRELL in leading up to it. Like, are you close? What are you doing right? What or personality thing, which I'm going to get to. But he doesn't necessarily, because he hasn't been there and done that, deserve that.
yeah, exactly.
But I think
Well, I think
if he's a genuine chance though, Mace, maybe there could have been something in the lead up to go, hey, this is the way we're going. This is what you're doing right.
Would Billy do that?
I think he would.
Yeah. And that's the difference between the age, right, of a Laurie Daly, Craig Bellamy, and a Billy.
Yep.
I think that's the age difference. And Billy's he's on social media. He understands the younger kids.
That's a good
I think
point.
I think he would have a conversation with Terrell about like he had with Selwyn Cobbo.
Yep.
You know, like he had with David Fafita, even though they played in that arena before. But like Terrell May, we look at him as a future player. He just needs to tweak a few things, right? And then he can be in that arena. If I'm a coach thinking he's going to be a part of the Origin for the next 5 years, I'm having to fucking sit down. Come here, mate. This is what you need to work on, X, Y, and Z. Then you'll be picked in the team. That's what sort of person I am. That's what coach I'd be. And I'm not sure whether the old heads like Laurie and that do that. They might not.
Well, so here's the thing.
Where Laurie obviously doesn't, because they said, "Did you ring Terrell?" No. Why? This, because of that reason, because he hasn't played.
Here we go, because we'll get to my point.
Yeah.
I got some dot points later because this is the thing that I reckon we've got to keep it 100 with this, and it's not about, in my opinion, it's not about on-field stuff, and it's about off-field stuff, which some of it is out of his control, which we'll get to in a bit. All right, the next one is from Corrallin. Hey, boys, just wanted to add something on the May situation. I completely agree with your take on this, but I think there is another factor that is ignored, and this is what we sort of spoke about at the start, is that this is just how Gen Z speak, especially on a live stream playing Call of Duty, which is notorious for harsh chat lobbies at the best of times. So, mate, you've probably seen some stuff over
I've seen it all, man.
Me and Lukey
all
probably
the gamers
more,
and stuff like that. I know it.
They talk mad shit to each other. So there's context for it. But like, I'll add some stuff at the back of this where I think everyone can improve in this situation. I think a lot of people blow up. I think a lot of the people that are blowing up are old media making a story. The legacy media is not adapting well to players having agencies and no longer hold the power they did.
Yep.
Where they take something from you and say present it out of context on the front of newspaper. So all that control that the old media, and that's what I was saying before, they don't like it. All right, so let's get to the situation and let's be
and the new players don't give a fuck about the old media. They don't respect it. They don't care for it. They don't get their news from it.
But in this case, they should.
Yeah, I know.
This is what it will get to, right? Yeah. So for me, and I've been sitting just listening to everyone over the last couple of days. We did our potty on Monday, and all the narratives about Terrell's D, his attack, I just don't buy it. It's for me when I compare him and I'll ask you some questions, Mace, around the guys that have been picked over top of him. This is for me clearly a personality issue with Terrell, and the reasons I say that is because it is the messaging and some of the stuff around the deficiencies in that have been pushed on behalf are just deflecting from what the real issue is. But I'm not saying he's totally or the situation of Terrell was totally innocent in it, right? And even going to the stream that he did, he moves really well, and like if you compare him to the two guys that have been picked in front of him, this is a hard one for you, right? I'm gonna leave you out of this one because this one's on Max King, but I reckon he's better pretty much in every aspect of his game. He can play more minutes than Max King. He gets more meters. His defense has been. He made 63 tackles with 0 misses against the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
They pick on that one game.
Well, see, they've used that one game against the Melbourne Storm to push this narrative. And the reason they're pushing it is because they can't tell you the real reason. But there's a factor or there's a part of this that Terrell has to realise that this is the issue and somehow stay authentic to himself, but also just make a few tweaks in what you're doing. And that's what I was talking about before. Because if you compare, right, so Max King, and this is, again, I want to highlight this. I'm not talking down on Max King. I wish Max King all the best. But I think Terrell's just a little bit better than him in everything across the board. Even age, what he could be in the future. And then if you compare him, and I'll bring you on this one, Mace, like the comp with Stefano, who's the 18th man, the comp is easier in a way. Terrell went from the Roosters, a good team, top 4 team last year?
Yeah, top 6. I think it's
top 4 team to the Wooden Spooners in the West Tigers and got better. Not to say Steph has got worse, but Steph went from the West Tigers, the Wooden Spooners, and went to the grand finalists in the Melbourne Storm. And you know how much I love Steph. I've been raving about Stefano for years, and I think he's going to be a great Melbourne Storm player. But he hasn't quite found his feet. So if you compare the two, like one's gone from a better team and made a lesser team worse, and then Melbourne aren't nowhere near or Stefano hasn't got to that point of his career already that we envisioned when he went to Melbourne Storm.
Hang on, you mean lesser team better?
Sorry, a lesser team and go into a better team in the Melbourne Storm. So just on that comparison, mates, that's the part where I just don't. Yeah, there's more to it.
And I'm like, it's a bit of both, right? Personality and playing with him, right? I don't look at him and go, "Fuck, he's one of the first picked in Origin." In my head, even like that's just me as a player, ex-player. And a person who I know who could actually handle Origin and dominate Origin, right? That's who you're trying to pick.
Yep.
I look at him and go, there are deficiencies in every player. If you want to pick on him,
of course,
God, you pick on him that one game against Melbourne when he just got blown out. He was the only guy on there, right? I looked at that and went, you fucking take him off and give him a rest. First of all, he's been on there for 70 fucking minutes. What do you expect when money got him with all that kind of stuff and his market defense was a little bit sloppy? Yeah, because he's out there too long. I think they play him too many minutes sometimes. He's a factor of that. Like if you can tell him, that's why he does play big minutes, and it seems like he goes at like 80% at everything. Right? We said that before. It's like if you told him like a Payne Haas, just fucking front load for 30 minutes, I'll give you a rest. Like I think you'd see a different player. That's where I think selectors will be like, oh, I don't think we can pick him on the bench. Right?
So starter only.
Start because he makes massive inroads when he plays more minutes because he's fitter than everyone. He's fucking got a big motor. I don't care about it. His defense could handle Origin. I'm not here sitting here making excuses why he's not in the team, but I can understand why he's not in the team. And Max King's there, and that's a good comparative, right? Be either him or Max King. That's probably why it's all talked about. Why Terrell's made is not in the side. Max King's in the side because he come from nowhere. Come from nowhere,
and he wasn't in a lot of people's teams. And he wasn't
in anyone's team. That's
he
why.
said that himself.
It's like, and you can't blame fucking Paul Maxey. He's fucking one of the best guys, and he's come a long way, and his numbers are fucking great and everything like that. But like,
did he say that himself? Did he?
Yeah, Max wouldn't have known.
He come out and goes, "I wasn't picked in anyone's team."
Yeah,
so that's why there's so much drama about TERRELL, mate. If Stefano was in there, I don't think there'd be that much noise.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed on that.
There would
100%.
be no much noise because they're going, Stefano's already played. He's done this. He's the next best thing. He's in Melbourne. His detail's great. His coach is there. This and that. So, but because Max King's in the team, that's the comparative. You're like, fuck. Look at his numbers. Look at his numbers. Like he blows them all out of the water. But like,
just on that point too, because Mace, because a big part of why the narrative was being pushed on Terrell early on was he didn't want to take a debutant to Suncorp. Then he played Max King, the exact same position, whereas if you'd played Stefano, he did get that one game experience. So that would have been a factor where like that narrative that was trying to be pushed about him early would have held up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm just like, I don't think.
Do you think that's why he had Saifidi in mind, and then when Saifidi wasn't available, he sort of because he's coming out trying to pad everything.
Correct.
Yeah,
and then it's
can't get a rookie, can't have a rookie at Suncorp.
Mate, and I want to be fair with this, and I want to be as even keel as I can with this, because like when you start pointing fingers and saying things, I want to be. This is not just Laurie's decision. Would you? No there would be 5 selectors or coaches or whatever it may be in on this decision, right? So there's probably going to be a majority vote, and I reckon purely from all the noise that we've heard about TERRELL over the last couple of years, the family situation, you have to consider that.
Everything.
You have to consider that.
Everything.
Even though it's unfair to TERRELL, you have to consider that because that's what is happening when you bring someone like that into the inner sanctum, into a Blues jersey. That there could potentially be 5 no's across the board. Like in my opinion, I don't think he's even being considered. That's what I want to get to.
That's what I sort of knew from the start. So I never really put him in the sides. I'm like, he's that sort of. I know that sort of where he's at in selectors' heads.
Yeah,
he needs to work on himself and this and that. Like I think he's a good kid. You hear things from Cheese saying he's just a joker. He's just a young kid. He's from the fucking inner suburbs. You know what I mean? He's from Penrith, Western Sydney. He reps that massively. He's just a. You know, he fucking said he wanted to be a streamer more than a footy player. So shit like that, if you're a fucking selector, you're like, why do I want this guy on my team? Yeah. You'd rather be a fucking streamer. You need to be, little things like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the selector?
For
guys?
sure.
Old heads.
For sure.
50, 60-year-olds that fucking would die for that Blues jersey and to be an NRL player and to be a pro player. And you hear comments from that. rubs them the wrong fucking way.
That's where he has to improve on,
That's
right?
what I say. Just keep your comments like that fucking in your head.
100%.
Shush.
And this is what I want to get to. So the new media, this new profile that he's building, it's super entertaining.
Yeah.
He's saying that he's been recognised more for his vlogs than he is on-field footy.
Do you know what I mean?
Which is awesome. I love it. I love the authenticity of Cheese. I love the authenticity of TERRELL. But you guys have got to be aware that authenticity sometimes comes with a price.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want you to completely lose your authentic self. Completely.
No.
But you just got to be aware of it.
tweak
And
it.
if you do want to make these teams, just tweak it ever so slightly. There is some stuff out of his control that he can't control,
Yeah.
right? So some of the decisions or some of the things that have happened to in and around him, we all know about it, right? That he can't control. He can control little things about the way he speaks when he does vlogs and the way he portrays himself on there by also staying real, representing his people, doing all that stuff, putting his... So like, for example, right, the guy that he did the apology with, I love the apology. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That showed that he's got some awareness about the situation.
I think this will make him better.
And this situation will make him better. But he did his apology on a lawn mowing Instagram page or whatever. You know what he's trying to do? And this is a credit
help
to him.
the dude out?
He's trying to help out a guy
Yeah, I love
who
it.
is probably someone that's close to him or in his area, trying to put him on the map because everyone's now filtering to that Instagram page.
That's
Nah,
what
that guy's got 2.1 million followers.
Oh, does he?
It's the opposite.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's no, for him to do that is him leaning into new media.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
he's like, I'm going to go to the most absurd version of new media
Yeah.
and tell the same story.
Okay.
Terrell May's a smart dude. Like, it's just
Yeah.
a different... Like, if you look at anything leading up to Origin, it was all podcasting and other things saying he should be picked. He should be picked. It was not the Telegraph putting him in their sides and everything like that. It was hardly any of that. There was no one really pushing
Yeah,
for
that's
him.
true.
Do you know what I mean? It was always
true.
like players like yourself, players, you know, all like fucking Jimmy fucking Graham. They were all like, all the Triple M boys. Everyone's just like, why is he in the team? Why?
Yeah.
Because we're just looking at the numbers and we're looking how good he's playing.
Yeah.
Then the comparative to Max King, that's what fucking blows people out of the water.
Yeah.
That's where it ends. And then it's because if you pick someone else, like a Daniel Saifidi, Jacob Saifidi, Big Stefano, someone like everyone, they've played before, experience. Boom, this whole thing gets shut down. There's no fucking talk about Terrell, mate.
Yeah, good
There's
point.
nothing.
That was a really good point.
There is nothing to talk about. It's only because of Max. And I'm like, I now want fucking Max to go up there and fucking kill everyone.
To be clear, people would have been upset because his form warranted being selected. But if you're going with that narrative of not playing a rookie, then you would have gone, Saifidi brothers have been there and done it.
Yeah, you could cop
Stefano's
anything.
played one game,
Yes.
limited minutes, but he knows the preparation that goes into it and all those sorts of things. What were you gonna say,
To
Lee?
add to it as well, like he did. It wasn't just he went and just did the interview with him. He did a content collaboration with him where he went, I believe this guy's one of those charity mowers. He goes to your house.
Yeah,
You got
I
long
know
the-
lawn.
I know the-
They're the best hungover Sunday watchers. You just sit there.
Yeah,
and
he
watch
just
blokes
mows everyone's
mow
lawn. Is
Yeah.
it that dude? How random.
I've watched heaps
I
from the
fucking watched
States.
The
that guy.
States.
I'll
Me
watch
too. I've
heaps
never
from the
seen this
States.
bloke, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
definitely seen some in the States.
So there you go.
But yeah,
I'd assumed I should have looked into it more. I
Yeah.
assumed that he was
So he's out there.
trying to break
That
into
just
them.
shows how random and like he just thinks outside the box.
Lukey's correct. He's
He's smart,
he's switched
mate.
on.
He's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
smart. Like his vlogs and shit. Like I would never think that. Like listening to him talking to me, that he'd like to do vlogs.
But I think
That's his
I
personality.
watched him. Did I
bro.
tell you? Have we spoke about this on the potty yet? Where I watched him eat for 10 minutes after.
remember I brought the vlog up, so I think you went and
There
watched
you
it.
go. So
watch him eat?
Mate, I'm telling you. It was the weirdest thing. So Lukey, this is the vlog after the Galvin situation. And Lukey's like, oh, they just beat Newcastle. Go watch it and just try to get a feel for the body language. Anyway, so we go through the whole vlog and I watched it from start to finish. And then I'm sitting there after 10 minutes going, I've just watched him eat for 10 minutes straight. He had his post-game feed and he had all these all these little different options around.
To your point with it as well, going back to
different
the
cat.
other week where in the vlog they're coming home from Magic Ground at Brisbane Airport, there's that punish fan there's a fan that comes over and tries to get photos.
I'm glad
from
you
them
brought
all.
this up.
You got to be better and just you can easily edit that out and remove all that noise that's going to come in off the back of it.
I didn't like that. They shouldn't have. Was
it's-
that off his vlog?
Hey, listen, and you'll know this too, mate, because
I
you've
saw
been
that.
there and
Yeah,
you've been
yeah.
punished. So for context for those people, I want to give some context for that. So when you go to the airport, you'll have the same guy come up at every single away trip, and he'll come there 6 or 7 times a year and get the same cards or jerseys written. Whether, like, could they have treated him better? For sure. But when you see the same guy come up over and over again, Mace, you can attest to this because you're a way bigger star than whatever I was. If you see the same guy, you don't give the same energy, right? That's just normal. Like there are guys that have come up to me, give me the same old shitty rookie.
I still sign
top
cards
try
now.
scorer card with only 4 tries on it. I'm like, looking at it and go, oh, fucking hell, sign it. But
but to the
You're
people,
right, though.
but to
You're
the
right.
people like coming up to these guys as well, just be a little bit more respectful.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? Like, and then, but like, because the energy that you come up to these guys with, they might be talking to their family, their FaceTime, and their
Jerome
kids.
was.
I know, but like, that's very important to these young guys. So when you're that dude with fucking cards or jerseys, be a little bit more respectful, because if you give the players the respect and the time to do what they're doing, if they're eating stuff like that, don't fucking go up to them.
I've edited many of a vlog over my time. Imagine we do an away trip like that and we're filming you guys to the airport, someone comes up to you and it just wasn't a great...
it wasn't a great
It wasn't. There was no way that was going to be perceived well by the outside people.
No.
because they don't know what happens at every
But
away
he's trying to
trip.
give the perspective of this is what we deal with as
Yes,
players. We have
yes,
these fans
I know.
come over and frustrate
Good
us
point.
as a lesson to fans, but the media's just going to flip that exactly how they did.
Yeah. So it's just like I've been involved in that sort of stuff, and I try and educate younger kids on that. Just be patient with those guys. If they don't say please, if they're like, I don't sign anything. Use your manners. I don't give a fuck. If you're 40 years old, you've seen it 1,000 times with me. Use your manners. You could be 30 years old or 5 years old. I don't give a fuck, mate. Come up with respect. If not, you're going to get. I'll mirror your energy. You'll get it straight back.
Here's an example. Remember the young fella that come up to us at the? Were you on the? You were because he come both days on the stage. When we were doing the Fanland. Do you remember the young kid that he's like had a bit of a country slang about him, and he come with his family and he's with his old man. He goes, please,
Good shake.
Great handshake.
Fucking love it.
Look, mate, straight in the eye. He actually, the family texted me after and
I'll
thanked us
fucking
for a
give
couple
him
of
the
days.
shirt off my back.
Mate, he sat up there and had a chat with us for about 3 or 4 minutes.
But that's what you
because of that straight away.
Yep.
How you going, Mr. Willie? My name's fucking Darren. Whatever. Shook me hand, and I was like, "Get here, kid."
Yeah, come here.
Or
Straight away.
the old boy comes over, Willie.
Yep. Thank you
Big
for that.
fan for years. My son's over here, big fan. He's an up and coming footy player. Like we've seen it all.
For sure.
It's just but just be like, I know there's a lot of young kids going out there who are big fans of these guys, right? Please, I'm trying to give you some lessons. Just go up and use your fucking manners and be polite and be respectful, because these guys are doing stuff, right? If they're eating or in a group and stuff, like when you see them, when you see your spot to go. But if they're on their phone and that, like that's when you'll get, fuck, I'm on the phone. Imagine if just try and understand if you were doing that same thing and someone tried to annoy you. Just like, fuck, just be patient, guys.
And if you're going to include the clip in the vlog, then have like a segment almost straight after going, look, this is the interaction we just had at the airport.
Yeah.
This is the lesson for all the fans out there. We had Jerome on the phone to his family.
Yeah.
Royce Hunt's over there having a feed.
Yep.
But what was in that video? He was going, go to Hunty, go to this. So it's like that's your point where you got to be better and understand how it's going to be perceived.
For sure. And the boys get like, even because you deal with certain people and like, no disrespect to some of those people that come up, they're just a little bit slower than other people as well, right? They're diehard fans and they might come up and you just got to give them some level of respect, like just, hey, this ain't the time, boys.
Yeah.
You can learn from both sides.
Yeah,
you can
of
learn
course.
from,
Exactly. I don't think I've ever said no to a fucking autograph. Do you know what I mean? I'll never say no. But if you're fucking rude and shit, you're gonna get it back. Right? What I mean? But like most of the time, it's with cards. Give me. Sometimes I got 50 cards. I'm like, dude, 50? Seriously, what do you do with these? Make it fucking
And it's
30
the same
cents.
card over and over
Same
again.
dude.
Yeah.
And I don't care. It depends how much time I got.
How
You've
many
seen
times-
it. I'll sit there and sign every fucking card and have a chat with you. But if I'm in a rush, I probably won't. I said, I'll give you 10.
Give you 10.
I'm out.
Yeah. How many times have you signed Parramatta's top try scorer card?
multiple.
All right,
But
Maybe
I don't
maybe
mind
9.
looking through the cards, just like going through a timeline from 2000 all the way to 2016.
It's nice when this is when it's nice. So we went to the Nines tournament at the start of the year, and because I wasn't with my partner Kaya at the time, I was playing footy, and then they come up with the cards and I go, still got it, still got it. I said, see that,
Ash
babe?
doesn't know anything about it. No, it's good.
She has no idea about rugby league.
Yeah.
See that, babe? Top try scorer.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
4 tries.
Shh,
4 tries.
4 tries. It's good. Rookie season, man. Come on.
Average Paris citizen.
She looks at you and just goes, whatever, and walks off.
Let's keep it.
All right, let's get to this conversation. We had a chat with Fozzie about his return to the Gold Coast Titans, and that was brought to you by our partners, Athlete. All right, we are back. We are back for the weekly catch up with two of the best in the game. With our good mate Fozzie, we had money on last week. They are the best in the business, and they are on for our partners this year at Athlete. Remember, as always, we will be sharing a link in the bio of this episode, and you have the chance to win a performance and recovery pack valued at $500 for your question of the week. And Fozzie, first of all, welcome back this week. We haven't seen you in a while, mate, but we've got an absolute doozy question from one of the fans for you, mate. And it's going to be, and it can almost mesh into my first question. The first question is obvious. You played your first game on the weekend. You must just be stoked. Obviously, the result didn't go your way, mate, but must be stoked to get back out in the field. And how's the body? How's the rig? How's everything been going over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, no, thanks, Ozzy. It felt great to be back out there. Obviously, it's been a long time since I've gone out there. I played about 15 minutes at the trial game, so it was a good 3.5 months on the sideline, and it's been a long stint rehabbing the bicep injury, but I've come back really well from it. It's it felt really good in the game against Canberra. Obviously, the result didn't go our way, but from a physical standpoint, I felt really good, considering I would have been out of match fitness, but it just shows the training I've been doing has held me in good stead to come back in reasonable nick.
Originally, when we first spoke at the start of the year, the original plan was for you to come off the bench. You're going to give Jaden and Brimo the opportunity to play 7 and 6, but that's when Keanu Kinney was fit. Unfortunately, Keanu is still out. Have you got an update for us on how Keanu's looking? Because we were only just speaking about this the other day, but then that all changed. JC moves back to the 6th position, and Brimo went back to fullback. Did you have were you given an early indication of that? And how is Keanu trekking along?
Yeah, mate. Firstly, obviously with Keanu, really unfortunate injury for him. With it was a disc in his neck that was actually incredibly close to his spine.
Oh, wow.
So he was incredibly lucky that they picked it up when they did. That's an extended period for him on the sideline. They obviously had to go in, fuse the disc. I think that's what they did, and then got to give it time to heal up and obviously go through the safety protocols in order to return to play. So he's still probably about, I would say, 9 to 10 weeks away.
Okay.
If he gets back, that'll be sort of the very back end of the season. You're talking sort of 4 or 5 games left of the regular season. So that probably adjusted our plan on the run in terms of what you touched on at the start there when we spoke pre-season about me playing that role off the bench in terms of a middle service role. Once Keanu went down, I think obviously Jalen de Groot came in, did a
Yep.
really good job. He's been incredible for us. Young guy, young fullback, came in, and I still think there's a role for him in the side somewhere in that 17, just because he's done such a great job. But look, I was incredibly grateful that Desi put me back into the halves, and I think based on with Keanu out, Brimo being able to move back to 1, he's such a good fullback. He gives you so much communication from the back, and he's got an incredible skill set. So me and Jaden played together in the halves for most of last year. So there's a good combination there, and hopefully we can string some wins together and get the season going.
While you were out, mate, it looked like you were doing some, looked like either some rehabilitation trainings or some extra training. And it's funny because I was watching an episode of either Freddie in the 8th or the Sunday Footy Show, and they were raving about a young kid in the Gold Coast Titans called Zane Harrison. And then only a couple of days later, I seen you doing a bit of a kicking competition with him for some content on the socials. And I know you love your content, Fozzie, too. And competitions like that, mate. Tell us a little bit about Zane Harrison, because when you get two guys like Freddie and Joey talking about younger players, he must be some sort of player that the Titans have huge ambitions for the future.
Yeah, got a really high opinion of young Zane Harrison. He's been a highly touted young kid coming through. He's obviously been one of the gun schoolboys coming through the system up here. So he's been earmarked for a while, and the Gold Coast Titans have wrapped him up, I think, for a few years now. So he's someone that the club holds huge and high hopes for, being sort of a 10-year halfback in their plans, no doubt. He's got an array of skills. He's your classic halfback in terms of a wonderful kicking game, great organizer, great vision, strong defensively. So he ticks all those boxes. But I think it's just his willingness to get better that I think will set him apart from many others. I think he's constantly asking questions and striving to learn more. And he's at that real critical age. I mean, he's only 18, 19, but I think his development over the next couple of years will be crucial, and he's someone that I suspect has a huge career in the NRL ahead of him.
Yeah, well, so he's more your traditional half because like if you're trying to project, and I don't like to put comparisons on young players, but does he have a more complete game, or is he more? It sounds like he's more traditional rather than maybe a better ball runner, like a more.
Yeah.
So he's an out and out 7. Do you think?
Yeah, he's an out and out 7, mate. He's your sort of Nathan Cleary, Mitch Moses mould. Like I said, he ticks all those boxes for your traditional halfback. Look, he's a very well-rounded player, and like I said, a great young guy, really eager to grow his game, and he won our yo-yo test in the preseason, so
Nice.
it shows you where his head's at in terms of his mental strength and grittiness to want to push through and take himself to that dark place. So that's always a wonderful attribute to see in a young guy. So yeah, mate, credit to him. He's impressed so far. He's playing a bit of Queensland Cup for us at the moment. So he's getting a taste of that. And
Are you use Burley?
no, we're Tweed. So he's playing with Tweed.
Wait. Okay. Yep.
Tweed Seagulls, and he's doing a really good job of the games I've seen of him so far. So that'll be a good step up for him, and providing he's doing everything he needs to there. There's a big preseason ahead of him at the end of the year, and a big year ahead next year.
Mate, this is just off the top here, off the back of that as well. Could you argue, or I reckon it'd be great advice to get people ask us about footy all the time, young players that are coming through. My advice to anyone, like you can work on so many things, but just become as fit as you can. Like the game is just becoming a game of attrition now. There are so many things that you can build out in your game. But like if you're putting in the hard work and one of the fittest in your team, that's going to put you in great stead for as you advance through the grades.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And you want to see that in all your young guys coming through. Like you want to see their willingness to push themselves. I'm always looking for that when we've got young guys coming through. So, mate, like I said, he won our yo-yo test, which shows you that he was prepared to push himself. Plus, as you touched on, it shows that he's incredibly fit as well. So that's what you want, mate. The game's so fast now. You've got to be able to react and jump on the back of opportunities when they present. And if you're fit, then you give yourself every chance of being able to do that.
Yeah, it's great advice. All right, mate, this is the fan question, and apologies, I'll find the name for it because he's actually going to win the $500 performance package from Athlete because it's so good, even with 1 week to go. It was a question we got on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and it is like the reason I love doing with you at this point of your career is you've been able to reflect. You're a little bit older. You've been through so much. You're able to look at it from a different lens now than probably when you were younger. And this question best summarizes that. Is there any resentment towards the injuries that you've had over the years and the games that you've missed? And then the second part, because in hindsight, with everything that you've experienced, could there have been stuff that you'd done different now that you look back on as a 300 gamer, and how many more extra games you could have played? Like examples are like rest and recovery, different forms of treatment, like whatever it may be, where you're like, man, if I was a little bit better in those areas, there's some just a freak injuries, and there's some just like, all right, I probably could have done something a little bit different during those years.
Yep. Mate, great question. Yeah, that's awesome. I certainly would start off by saying there's no resentment, although it's been incredibly tough through those patches of injuries where I've been sidelined for a number of months and had to rehab injuries on my own, sort of away from the group, and it's been really, really difficult. Being able to reflect now, there's a number of lessons that it's taught me. None more important than being resilient. And I like to think that having to have dealt with those injuries and come back from them have given me firstly the ability to be resilient, and secondly it's also given me empathy, to understand what others go through in professional sport when they face those injuries. So there's certainly no resentment, but I see it now as almost a blessing, that I have been able to go through all that, because it's taught me a whole lot of other wonderful things that I'll be able to carry through life. I guess the second part to your question, as I reflect, is there anything I could have done different? That's a really interesting one, because there's a number of factors that contribute to getting injuries. Obviously, there's freak accidents, and some can't be avoided. In saying that, there's no doubt in my younger days, I lived life pretty hard off the field as well as on it, and probably wasn't the most ultra professional young guy coming through. I enjoyed going for a beer with me mates after games, and that was the culture then as well. But I wasn't the sort of guy that would take days to get my recovery right, straight after a game. I was more interested in socialising and enjoying that side of the game. So when I look back on it, yeah, there's probably a period there in my younger years where I could have been more professional. Whether that would have, helped, I guess, minimise those injuries that I got, no one would ever know. Um, I I tend to think physically I was always up against it, mate. To be honest with you, I remember coming into my very first preseason as an 18-year-old, fresh out of high school, and I couldn't even get my legs over the hurdles, in the gym. You'd probably remember this, Ossie. Every club sets out hurdles, they're not even a metre off the ground, right?
Yeah,
And they set out these hurdles to sort of get your hips over. And anyhow, mate, I'm 18, first pre-season, fresh out of high school, and I can't get my legs over these hurdles. And from that point, a few of the older boys were into me. They were just basically saying, mate, you're up against it, Fozzie, like your body is. And that just gives everyone an indication, and then throw on top, the fact that I've, sort of had no self-preservation in regards to my body.
yeah.
So,
The reason I asked it, Fozzie, and I'll just add to it as well, like, and I can attest to this, it was a different culture when we were coming through. And now that I'm looking at it from, as a little bit older,
yeah.
and looking at, I reckon our team in particular, or the team that I played with you at Manly, was sort of the last of the old school brigade where, like, it's not even like we loved it. We enjoyed a schooner. We had a schooner after a game, most games.
For sure.
But even just like the attention to detail with, they've all got, they're all in the saunas. They're all doing, they've got their own ice bath recovery setups. A lot of them are doing yoga and Pilates and all that stuff that would have helped with your hips. Like you just, I look at it now and there's a part of me that knows that there's hard work in that. accounting for time for that. But there's a part that you know, I sit there and watch and I go, geez, I wish I was just a little bit better in those areas. And who knows, I might have punched out an extra 50 or whatever it may have been.
Oh, for sure. Well, I made that adjustment, you know, and I had to. You know, there's a period where the game went through that real professional change, and in terms of your recovery and your preparation, and I've made that change. There's no doubt that it's added a number of seasons onto the back end of my career. You know, I'm really invested in doing saunas now and ice baths and things like that. So, you know, it's such an integral part of your preparation now and your recovery. So, yeah, I mean, it is entirely different to when we played and all those years ago. But yeah, like I said, it's really hard to know whether that would have made a difference with my injuries. You know, a lot of my injuries have been contact injuries or, you know, the way in which I've found myself in awkward positions and tackles or getting tackled and things like that. So, yeah, I tend to think it probably would have helped with my soft tissues actually, you know, when I had a few hamstring tears and things like that in my younger years and calves. I feel like that recovery side would have probably helped prevent a few less of those. But yeah, I mean, gosh, you roll with the punches, don't you, sometimes? And you know, I've certainly enjoyed the ride, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's like, the reason I bring it up too is like they were, you know, sort of good times in a different time there, but there's the nostalgic part of looking back and going, you know, we would go down and do for recovery, might go jump in Narrabeen Beach for 10 minutes, and that be the gut recovery now. Where, mate, I know the way that, you know, you guys you're training now compared to back in the days is chalk and cheese. But I found that interesting. I thought that was a really good question.
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
And able to reflect on it. And mate, hopefully you are fully recovered now. Kick the feet up over the weekend, enjoy the bye, and then you get the Storm. You get the Money Man in a couple of weeks as well. So two athletes will be going against each other.
Can't wait for that one, mate.
Straight after the Origin. Make sure you mention when you get to the scrum about the Wi-Fi that the Wi-Fi is going good, Fozzie.
He needs to stop that Wi-Fi talk, Ozzy.
All right, brother. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
You know what? The next reply or the uproar for this selection, I reckon, would have been so much bigger and maybe a lot louder, if not for his Tigers teammate and TERRELL May, Jerome Luai.
Yeah.
So this one comes from Menzies. The Luai, and it's not Beaver, the Luai non-selection is exactly why Queensland won 8 in a row. New South Wales having so many options in many positions are going to their heads so much they're picking people out of position without any history of combinations when they don't need to. The next one comes from Ain Ratu. With the Blues picking both Moses and Cleary, if the Blues lose, hopefully not, will that make Dylan Edwards the next scapegoat? I don't think the coaching staff will have the guts to drop one of Mitch Moses or Nathan Cleary if it doesn't go their way. So that's
it's going to be. Yeah, this is going to be a game like that. Right?
I haven't thought about the
negative side of it.
The negatives. Yeah. I haven't.
Because I'm just like, they're both going to.
Yeah. Sorry, go.
So I'm like you. We're like, if they played it this way, all I see is positives.
Same.
But then I'm like, hold up. It's Suncorp. It's 52,000. It's the most hostile place you can ever play at in game one. They're coming in there. They're underdogs. So they'll say that they are.
They love it.
And there's a big ambush coming. And we need to get our 7s. That's the only reason why I was going with Luai at the start. Simply because I know where it's played and they're used to knowing where they're playing. They've been playing for fucking 10 years together. That's why. These two haven't played before. So when the shit hits the fan, one of these guys have got to go if we get done in game one.
Oh, wow. Wow.
If it doesn't work and we don't get any outside ball and Latrell's not getting one-on-ones and fucking all this sort of stuff, if that's not happening, one's going.
I like this take, though.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
I like this take in the sense where
Dylan Edwards won't be the scapegoat.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, no. He won't, because I don't think he's got a bad game in him. You know what I mean? Is he saying, is this like if Edwards plays shit?
No, this is
this because-
this is just regardless of who plays at what level, there will be a scapegoat. And if you look at the positions in the 1, 7 and 6, do you think it'll be Moses?
It'll be Moses, not Cleary.
All right.
It'll be like because Cleary's at 7. Like Moses is the one who's playing out of position. Even though they go, oh, he's played 6 before. You fucking 10, 12 years ago, he's been a 7 his whole career, NRL career, a dominant 7. Now you play him 6. This is going to be coaching. This is Bellamy. This is Laurie.
Yep.
That's it. And then we got to see how we go. But if we'll go through the game plan next week, and I'll know how if it can be sunken, right? Like fuck, I never look at the negatives. I try not to, but it can go south big time, especially up there.
Fucking oath.
Momentum, everything like that. The crowd factor. You're playing Queensland in Queensland. It's the fucking hardest thing you can do in rugby league. Telling you.
And go on.
Controversial take.
What?
Last year, Luai only got picked because of Nathan's hamstring.
And then he took it to the house.
What do you mean?
So it was always going to be Moses and remember we asked Moses the question at the golf day, how do you think you can play with Nath? That's the start of last season.
Yeah.
And it was Cody Walker was he was in a bit of hot form at the start, back end.
No, it
of
was
23.
Nico. It was Nico who was playing well at the start of the year.
And Nico, as well.
Yeah.
So
And then Nath did his hammy,
Yeah, so that's the difference. Like people have asked this question as well about the snub with Luai compared to why can't Edwards be beaten out in form? Because Edwards beat Teddy out last year and was the incumbent. These two, both of them, Jerome Luai and Mitch Moses, whichever way you look at it, one of them were the benefactor of Nath being out through injury.
Yeah.
So they didn't beat Nathan out to get
No
position.
one beat him.
Neither of them we didn't know. We wouldn't have known. It might have been one or the other last year as well with Nath if he was fit. So that's the difference.
Yeah,
They've
that's
been
my
in
point.
position. They've never been in position. Now they've been in position. This is what they would have gone with if Cleary didn't do his hamstring.
You know, it's a good point. I
seen.
I think it was it was last night. Braith was talking to Hodgie about on 360 about Hodges said Justin Hodges said, I love that Luai's not in the team because he got under the skin.
I was going to say that.
Yep.
I think Luai not being in that side because he was he's an antagonist, right?
He picked the skipper up and threw him into the sidelines.
We're there at Suncorp and I was just like, ooh, because that's the sort of motivation that can take you to another level. With the Maroons' hate for him and the crowd don't really hate anyone in New South Wales that much. Who are you going to hate? Max King?
That's a good
Can't
point.
hate Max King.
That's a good point. No one.
Trell.
Trell, but like he don't get the ball as much as Luai. You can get booed every single time.
There's definitely more hate for Jerome than there is.
There is. And I reckon.
Come on, Queenslanders, let us know. Who do you hate more, Latrell or Jerome?
No, it's Jerome because of what he did to DCE last year. It's so disrespectful.
It's not just last year; it's a few seasons.
Yeah, he's done some shit that rubs everybody the wrong way.
He ran in first for Matty Burton in that scrap too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's done some shit, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I love what he's done. He's a very. We've been on the end of winning.
Well,
right?
that was your take, giving him in the 17 jersey, bringing that energy.
I wanted him a part of the team,
and I wish he was. Like, I don't get me wrong, Team Moses, but I did like the 17th pick. For sure.
And to that point, Moses has got a little bit of shit in him.
100%.
Moses will do it in a different way.
Yeah, he won't.
So Moses won't be as physical. He won't be as loud. Moses will go to scrums and talk shit to Ches. 100%. They'll be if he's on the left edge. You know what Mitch is like.
Yeah, I like it.
Mitch has got a little bit of fucking.
He's got some swag.
What
some swag.
What did Mitchy Pearce say last year? Healthy arrogance.
He's got healthy arrogance.
Healthy arrogance, right? So Mitch is, despite everything that he's saying, and he's saying all the right things. I haven't seen the potty that he did with Piercy and Toddy through a couple of weeks ago. It must have been pre-recorded a long time ago. He's saying all the right things at the moment, Mitch, and I'm loving it. Like, whatever happens, I'll support the Blues or whatever. Mitch, you can just tell. You watch. There's a certain person. There's a certain confidence about someone. He knows he's cherry ripe. He's at his peak of his powers right now, and he knows that like he's going to be playing the Robin with Nathan, but he's able to play Batman if required. And he won't go into that arena now, and I heard him talking about it, with any self-doubt or anything like that.
He's a different human.
And he'll happily talk mad shit to
He's a
Chase.
different man, Moses.
Mate.
And I'm like, he's at the peak of his powers. So I'm happy that – I was happy with any selection, Luai or Moses. I would have went, like, okay, I get it. You know, Luai, combination, Moses, you know, like because of what he did last year to Queensland. Both great players, but one had to miss out.
One had to miss out.
One had to miss out, which sucked. And he didn't have to make this decision for the last couple of years because someone was always injured.
Do you agree that, like, if there wasn't the Terrell May situation, there would have been more noise about Jerome?
Fuck yeah, we just forgot about it. Jerome's probably happy.
Yeah?
Sitting there going, thank you, Terrell.
Yeah, you're right. Like, you don't necessarily like to be involved in all the chat, do you? Yeah.
No.
And they've got the buy as well. So he's
cool. He's with family time, just relaxing. Like he's been involved in some massive runs, winning comps, playing Origin. You know, now he gets to sit back and watch, and it'll probably fire the shit out of him. Like now it's all right, but once next Wednesday comes,
does Jerome and Terrell play any part in this series?
I think Jerome does.
No.
I think
That would require them losing, I think.
Yeah,
And you
one
think they
game.
can lose?
One game. I want a decider. I'm part of the game now. I want a decider.
But if that, okay.
I'm not New South. I just want New South. I just want to blow them out and
A
fucking
true blue should say sweep.
Yeah, well, I think the sweep's in. The sweep's in. The sweep is in. But like as a spectator, I want to fucking be in Sydney at a decider.
I think it's variable on which game they lose.
Yeah, you're right.
Brisbane's going to get one.
If they win game one, then lose game two, and then go to the decider, then no one's going to change anyone. If whoever loses game one, out of the halves, they're in trouble. So I think you're right.
You reckon Queensland with Ches?
Yep. I think if New South Wales lose game one, Mitch is in trouble.
Yeah.
And I think if Queensland lose game one, Ches is in trouble.
But it depends how you lose. If it's like the ball's not getting out, the kicking game shit, couldn't end of sets, all that sort of stuff, or is it Queensland brilliance and they just fucking overpowered us and all that sort of stuff?
If it's like game three last year, no one loses their
No one
job.
loses their spot. But if it gets beaten, like if Latrell don't get the ball one-on-one, if Critter's not getting the ball, that's because of the halves.
Is there a world where Nathan's under pressure?
No. He's the best player in the world.
I think he's the one who's slyly going, fuck, this is my year.
So if
I
Mitch
can't get a comp this year. I can't win the comp this year.
Mitch dominates in a tight loss
Panthers
up at
fans aren't gonna
Suncorp.
believe that.
It's always close up there.
Hey?
Mitch dominates in a tight loss up at Suncorp up there. Nathan's not under any pressure.
No way.
No.
No, you'd have to play. He'd have to play awful. Like lose the game. We'd have to get pumped by 30, and it's Nate's fault.
That's not going to happen.
And he just does. He's too good a player.
He won't allow that to happen.
But
The greats
then
don't do
equally,
that.
why can that happen to Mitch?
Because Mitch is less proven. Like, even though he's got the job done.
Yeah, Mitch played 4 games.
And Mitch has had a fucking really good 2 or 3 year period. Nathan's been dominating and winning comps for 6 years and is the clear cut. Like, for a lot of people, it's Nathan number 1 and then it's a toss up between Mitch and Jerome Hughes for number 2 halfback in the game.
Anyway, I do miss that little Jerome out there as well. So.
Oh, for sure. Romy. I feel so bad for Romy. But
It's a good thing sometimes.
That was a good clip last year, him, Ches.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, let's get to the Broncos news. And this has been, through the cycles of Origin and the coaching narrative. And this one's from Daniel Robinson. He's always got a really good gauge on what's happening up there at the Broncos, and he's an L1 from day one as well. Hey, boys, read the Broncos. It's time for the players to take full responsibility for the results on the field. They got Seabolt sacked because his game plan and coaching style was too complicated. They got Kevy sacked because he was too easygoing. Now they want Madge sacked because it is too tough. The senior players need to drive the standards and let everyone in the squad know that you take shortcuts at training or in games. You will be playing in reserve grade. Enough is enough. My take on this, I reckon this is blown up so much more by the media than, especially the narrative around Madge and the training. There would be maybe a couple of players, specifically older players, who would, you know what it's like, Mace. Yeah, at the back end of your career, not to say that it's just only older players, but when you're old and you've, done 10 to 12 preseasons, it's like, fuck. When someone comes in a little bit hard-nosed, you're like, this is torture. Yeah. But I think it's more been that Broncos are a huge club. They're coming off the back of sacking Kevy at the end of last year. He's a part of what they're doing at Fox. And there's been a narrative pushed out about the players being off the level of training for Madge, and I reckon it's been completely overblown. I don't feel like the energy is as strong from players as the way it's been made out.
They just haven't got the results. And that's not the coach. You know what I mean? They're fit. Look how fit and strong they look. It's just like they haven't executed at the right time. You know, they've been playing really stupid football, and that's not on Madge. You can give the game plan, you can X's and O's and everything like that, but you've got to execute it.
Yeah,
that's where I think coaches get too much blame. When you know when there's a shit coach out there, we
hear it, right?
Yeah, you hear it as a play because it's not about. It's about him more as a person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like you can be like.
So listen, when like an as well, right? Because we're still, you know, in touch with the game. We know players, we know past players, we know a few current players. I'm not getting the same information that I'm been hearing portrayed about Madge and them complaining about training. There's frustrations with the results, don't get me wrong, but I don't think there's as much as like the players complaining as there's been made out. I reckon there's only a few bad eggs.
Yep.
And that is what's being portrayed, and that's what's been.
Those players will be getting rid of. You see next year's roster, those players, they'll be done. They'll be done. You know, as I said, he's inherited this roster, which is a fucking very good roster, right? Hasn't gotten the results. Their timing's been off, all those little things because of Ezra Mann being out for like 9 weeks. Ben Hunt, new player, right? Hasn't played there for 10 years. You know what I mean? So it's been a while since he's been back there, old head. And him and Reynolds have been off on the different pages. Now you'll get Walsh back in about 4 weeks.
I think he just got out of his brace.
Yeah, it's about 4. Yeah, I reckon 4
3,
weeks.
4.
Yeah. Then you'll see a whole different side because that's a different guy with Ezra Mann there, right? Benny Hunt's not a 6. He's not a 6. You put him in 9, and then that's the real deal there. I think they can make a big run for it. Big run because that side.
Do you think Madge because we all know about like the South Madge and we all seen the Tigers Madge. You think over the years being in the system with Sticky at Canberra, Cheese was speaking about how it was probably one of the more tougher tours that they had for the Kiwis that they had to adjust to as well. Do you think he's changed his ways and realised like over time that you've got to tweak it a little bit? What was the chat like for New South Wales last year?
It's fucking intense.
Was it?
Yeah.
But was there anyone complaining about it?
No.
Was it because it's different because it's only an 8-week period?
Yeah, you get in there for 8-9 days.
Yeah.
I don't think the training would have been hard. It would have been intense, but you're playing with the best players.
Yeah, true.
You know, like on a tour with the New Zealand tour, that sucks when training's hard on a tour. You're sort of at the peak of your powers anyway. And
that's what Cheese was alluding to.
You know, like you fucking know what's going on. You got to turn up for obviously it's a test, and New Zealand are not like bottom feeders. It's just a New Zealand team. They're a fucking good side.
He also said when they bought into it and they stopped complaining about it because it was tougher than other tours they've been on, they actually got results.
Yeah, well, that's what they believe in him.
30 zip.
Yeah,
30 zip
exactly.
Pack champs.
And then the South Madge was hardcore, but he got a premiership, right?
Yeah.
The one that he gets hit for is his West Tigers one.
No, he gets hit. He gets hit heavily for the South gig because
the end of South.
Yep.
He medically retired for two of the greats, Sam Burgess and GI. Fucking, they were done.
Yeah.
They were done. Their bodies were fucked. And I remember having good conversations with them around about that time. They're like, there's no off button there.
Yeah.
Like even for like, I remember playing with Wayne up there when I was 32 to 34. Bro, he trusts us as players to get the job done.
Yeah.
Trust, right? You got to trust Sam Burgess and GI that they're going to be ready for the, for the game. You're not training them like fucking like the 22-year-old kid out there.
Yeah.
You get 30s, you get that little pass.
You know who I find interesting in this whole little dynamic of what's happening? Because there's changes and there's Madge people and there will still be Kevy people and then there's just people in and around the club that it's such a big juggernaut of a club that everyone wants to have their say. Remember when Benny Teo did his podcast with the Hello Sports Boys maybe about 3 years ago now? He talked about how tough it was with Madge and he just had to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
He's now the assistant coach with Madge. So I'd love to be a fly on the wall because Benny Teo and Trent Barrett were both signed by Kevy before Kevy had parted ways. So like what was those conversations like with Benny Teo? And for sure Benny would have gone to him, mate, these are like, I'm getting into this now. I can understand the coaching side of it, but like what you did at South was fucking ridiculous. And we've got to fucking meet halfway.
Yeah,
surely.
I think I'd love to see their weekly schedule.
Yeah.
just to see what it looks like.
Because you know how hard the Bulldogs train.
Yeah, but I'm just like, they get it. There's a lot of downtime as well. There's long days, and they're pretty smart, the dogs. They've got some really good, like with Travis Toomer and Ciro and everyone there. I just love to see a schedule, like how many days off they get a week.
But Mace, there wasn't that chat 2 years ago when they were losing.
Yeah.
It was they're training too hard, the days are too long.
I know. And then and the Bulldogs have gotten harder.
Yes.
It's gotten harder. So I
Yes.
just love it. It'd be interesting to see, right? Because
Yep.
they're usually around about the same, most schedules during the year. They're 2 days off, right?
Yeah.
You're about 4 days of proper work.
You
I
know
just
what?
want to see what the fucking Broncos are,
You
what
know
he's
what-
doing every day.
This is the ultimate killer, and you'll know this because we played together. I know how you can get frustrated at the back end. It's when you're doing a shitload of video when you're losing, and those are like maybe
long hours.
Maybe a half an hour to an hour video session goes for 2, and it might seem crazy to people, but when you go in there, and it's not necessarily about the length of the video as well. And when you start doing some extra stuff, it's that it's all negative, right? So you sit there and you come in, you might be, all right, fuck, that was shit over the, and then you compartmentalize what went wrong, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to be sweet here. And then you get on a Monday or Tuesday, 2 days after the game, and then you just sit there and just get berated again.
I feel like Madge is straight on you. What are you fucking doing here? And like a lot of players, you got to. That's when a coach needs to know what sort of player you are. If you don't like that sort of shit, you did that to like someone else. Just say when we were at the Bulldogs, you called someone out. Fucking likely you're going to get told to get fucked. Fuck you. And an argument with the coach, right? So folks, he knew what we're like, our personality. You've got to give him that, because he'd never say shit. He'd say he'd drag you out the side and say this. And same as Wayne Bennett would do that as well. He goes, I'll put you on. He goes, there was a little incident in the game. He goes, I can't call you out on. He goes, I can't call the young kid out on this, Mace. He goes, but I'll call you because you're used to it. So he fucking hammered me in front of everyone to put the message across that no one's safe, right?
Yeah,
if he's
gave you the
doing it
heads
to
up.
me,
Yeah.
you know, and he goes, I know you can handle it, big boy. I said, yeah, sweet. And he's like, fucking Willie, what are you fucking doing here? And I'm like, oh man, my bad.
Yeah.
Shit. You know what I mean? And then we're going to have a laugh about it in the office. But he'd tell me about it. He goes, I'm going to hammer you today, big boy, because I don't want the young kid, because it was mainly his fault. He didn't push up or some shit like. And I'm fucking screaming at this little fucker on the field to push up, and he's like, whatever. And he goes, I'm going to give it to you. And then
It's a good
pretty funny.
comparison with that young Bulldogs team when you come through and you're killing it. Like that's like a lot. Or they haven't achieved what you guys achieved, but they're a young ascending team that has premiership aspirations.
Yeah, the window's closing, but
and elite players without like having ticked that box that you eventually end up ticking. So I could see a bit of the young Bulldogs in some of the personalities of the young Broncos.
I can see that too. I look at the young Broncos and go, they've got a bunch of swag. They've got a lot of confidence. They've got a good team.
Got some dudes.
Fucking dudes in there, man. I'm like, that's coaching. It's the coaching of those egos and how to handle it. And that's why Wayne Bennett is still coaching now. So if you cut from the Wayne Bennett tree, you if you take anything from him, it's his man management skills. It's his people skills. Where I don't think Madge has that. He's very confrontational. He'll fucking tell you straight to your face that you dropped. And this is why he don't give a shit about that. But I don't know if he's got that nice fucking sort of dude in him as well.
Like
hey, you're going really well. Like get that, where Wayne has got that brilliance of like getting the best out of you by putting a lot of confidence in you from him. It's just like, I don't know where Madge sits on that.
Do you think Madge has got that conversation that Wayne had with you before going in video, or just getting in a video?
I don't think so.
Fuck
just
you,
fucking
mate.
paying half. What the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
Reynolds, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. And I'm not going to say anything like that. But it's all Wayne's a special guy.
Yeah.
And same as Craig Bellamy. All those guys won't put you on show because they know. A lot of us, like as athletes, that's the worst thing you can do. You do that to any athlete and put him on show in front of all his peers and his team. You're like, you feel like a fucking piece of shit, and you want to kill the coach and don't want to play for him. Yeah. So it's the fucking worst thing you can do.
Especially if you don't feel like it's constructive.
No, it's just fucking just you.
Yeah. It gets to a point too when you're doing video sessions for people that don't understand how they go. Like when you're going through a rough time and then there's like a coach can really zero in on you in a couple of weeks too. Yeah. And then if times are tough, he's finding a reason. And you could be the reason, and it's just over and over. And it's like, all right, it's gone past him trying to be constructive.
Feels personal.
It feels personal, and he wants to make an example of you. So, that's where it can That I could understand. Like, just an educated guess or just a perceived way that he's been talked about in the past. I think it's closer
I'd love to have
that.
a chat with someone about how he is at the Bronx. I don't think there's any problem. I think that's just the narrative that they're trying to get out there because of the shitty results they're getting. Getting shitty results because they're playing shit.
I think you mentioned at the very beginning, just like the media, whose side of the fence is, you Fox or you this. Buzz wrote that crazy story in preseason talking about how they've trained too hard, all this, and then he's continuing trying to find reasons to keep adding to that narrative throughout the year.
For sure. And that's just part of. Do you feel like the media wars with? And I was speaking about this the other day. I don't know if we talked about this on the potty. Do you reckon the media wars between the Nine and the Nine and Fox, and then the two papers have been as ruthless or as what's the word?
Combative between the two
as we've ever seen it before?
I think.
Or is it just because I know we've been doing podcasts for 3-4 years, but I can't feel like
I don't even watch it.
Yeah.
So my take.
Me and Luke, you watch a lot of the 360 and 100% footy, and they always have little digs at each other. Right?
I believe it.
I know it's never going to go away. That's all I know
100%,
because I know how the game works. So I'm just like I just stay out of it.
It's the evolution of the social media age where the negativity sells, and what they're all trying to do is build their best case as to why they deserve the broadcast rights moving forward.
Yeah. I'll throw it. I really think what kicked it off at the start of the year was Ches going on 100%
Big time.
and the Fox, and then now they've just been going bang, 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 trying to one up each other.
Yeah, that was.
And I reckon that's the like, not to say it didn't exist before, because it clearly did. And your point is correct with the social media, but I reckon that really pissed Fox off, and Channel 9 thought they were killing it with that, and then those journos have just been continually trying to battle and story up the Galvin and all that sort of stuff over the last 8 weeks. And any time they get a chance to have a dig, even as petty as the example you brought up from both sides, when they use each other's pictures and they talk about stories, like that shit just sums up.
Danny White. But I've seen it because of my stuff at 7, right? Just the 7 and 9 stuff. I know that's a fucking in-house battle, right? Obviously, it's not Fox Sports. Fox
Sure.
that. But I don't see it. I just think everyone's like with Danny and stuff like that, and people with Channel 9, and like they're like, "Are you mates with him?" I'm like, I've known Danny for like 20-something years.
Yeah, I'm good with Danny.
You know what I mean? It's like, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a proper fucking little with the sporting people and everything. Like, I didn't know. I'm like, okay,
Shamus having to sit out 100% footy.
Yeah, that was a giggle.
So there's all little games and everything.
Did you hear about that? You wouldn't heard about that. So the Moses contingent of Isaac and Mitch. I don't know who it come from.
100% Isaac.
You probably think it's Isaac, right? Because they've allegedly they've had a running battle that goes back. I think they went to school together. Shamus, yeah. You know what I always find funny now, because I'm doing the SEN stuff and going to call games, because I'm always at games, right? So then you see all the media personalities.
You got your little.
You got the little SEN fucking badge on and the media pass, and then just the energy. Because I like a lot of the times I'll run into them in the going in the lifts, going down or going up into the.
How you going, fellas?
Hey boys, like this, and it's just like, and I'm trying to remember, like, have we talked shit about him on a potty before? Like, what's the energy like? Have I portrayed? Because
you're probably like, what may say, fucking hell.
No, like, in a way,
funny because they.
But I don't give a shit.
No.
Like, I don't give, like, it doesn't, like, I don't lose sleep over it, or I don't like. But I can immediately tell with the way that they start speaking back to me, because I always have like a little conversation with, like, hey boys, like have a chat, like, what about the game or whatever, and you can just tell the tweaks in the voice, like, he doesn't like me, or he doesn't like us, or he doesn't like levels, or he doesn't like Mace potentially.
No, 100%. We're ruffling feathers. They fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always like, when you're like, I remember when I was younger, when you feel like awkward tension. It used to make me feel awkward. Now I like actually enjoy being around that. It's a weird thing.
But it's weird. I just say if you like they report on our game. We played the game at a high level. Now we report on the game better than they report on the game. Well, so that would fucking suck if I was a journalist and I'm better than you as a journalist as well, and a footy player.
I was going to bring that up later on Channel 7. You reported as a rugby league journalist.
Journalist. Fucking now I'm better than you, a better journalist than you as well.
Better player,
better bloke, everything. Winning.
Are you talking about being in the lift with coaches and stuff, or with like
media and coaches? So coaches, I felt it. That's why I stopped doing the presses.
Oh,
but
you can feel that with the coaches, yeah.
I can feel the energy.
Oh no.
Could you feel the tension?
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
It's like, but my point is, I feel it and I enjoy it, and not to think that like I'm I'm nowhere near above anyone
Yeah.
or anything like that. I'm just like, ooh, that was a bit awkward.
the other one-
and I'm like, and have a
Why do
little,
I feel like this?
and I'm like, I'll have a little laugh to myself.
At Combank, I used to bump into people in the toilets up there at halftime.
Yeah.
Because we used to be in the media box. Like, we just
Yeah, yeah.
booked one of those
Level
ones in
4.
the toilets. Yeah.
Yep, level 4. Yeah, you see, because I see them a lot at because you can't really miss each other at Combank.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the same spot. Whereas if you do it at like a course so big,
it's
you're so spread out, you don't really run into people as much. But yeah. Anyway, let's get to game management, and this comes from Uzo Unknown. So Uzo, Tacos, Bros, Cuzzies, El Tassi from Aso Tassi. For people who are just tuning in, they don't understand. This is like a bit of an accent I used to use around the boys back in the day. Shout out to the Triple OG, Skipper Scope and the Bro Lukey Stowe. Boys, I've been to every Dolphins home game against Warriors. There is no other team that gets booed at home besides my bloody Dolphins. Gutted we lost, but I'm not using any of the early bad calls as a reason. We had time to call back and just a little bit too late. You mentioned towards the end, Katoa started to pull the trigger when we needed to. You talk about them playing to a game plan to a T. My question is, because I know you two both were halfbacks and forwards bodies, tongue-in-cheek. The week before we won by sticking through the game plan right to the end of the game, last week we have overstayed our own game plan. Has there been a time when you have played in a game similar to Dolphins and Wires game and your game plan hasn't worked? Have you told your halves, nah, let's work towards something else or it's not working? Keep up the good work. Let's hope Uncle Viliamu doesn't find his Twitter password. Up the fins.
I'm trying to get it.
And Queensland.
That's a good one with when you play to a structure, a certain sort of structure, right?
Yeah.
I remember playing with Braith and Shifty that were quite off the cuff players. You know what I mean? Like I don't think. Like if it wasn't working for Sherwin, he would fucking try anything.
How quickly?
Crossfield kicks, anything. Like coming out of yardage, crossfield kicks to Haz would make 10 or 20 metres, then we'd get on a roll like that. Like,
so you have a certain plan and then Shifty goes, all right, this ain't working, let's get out of it.
Get out.
How quickly does he just
fucking happen in 5 minutes? It's ask anyone. It's just like, if it ain't working, like we'd stick to a plan, like which is mainly forwards, passing little short balls around here, block shapes, trying to get to an edge, come back to the middle, and then split them up, and so Braith can have his own, and Shifty have his edge, and then go from there. But like, fuck, it wouldn't if it wasn't working. Just fucking try something else.
I'll give you a great example.
Sorry, because that little Katoa, he's very. It looks like it's going to happen all the time.
Yeah,
you know the same.
What do you mean by that? Sorry,
like where. Like
it can look predictable.
Looks very predictable.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like he digs into the line perfectly sometimes, but it looks like that all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe he can run sometimes. Maybe he can dig in on the other side.
Agreed.
Like I think he's a great runner. Maybe he's out of 5 times, 2 times he runs. Do you know what I mean? So like they didn't look at all in the first 5 times he got the ball that he was ever going to run.
Yep.
So therefore you don't put the A doesn't really. He might hedge his bets and fucking go harder next time. Put more pressure on him, which the Warriors did because they've got a good system in their defence.
Yep.
Right, and that's what I said about they were pushing through the line and getting off the leads and pushing out to the other guys. Fucking rattled the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So Herbie wasn't getting his one-on-ones.
They started playing a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly, because of the inside pressure.
Yep.
So that's what I said. Like with the Bulldogs, how we defend is like that. Right, so regardless, we'll go through the teams later, but like that's the sort of pressure you need to put on him because he digs into the line like the best of them. There's no one better as a young kid than Katoa at the moment, but he needs Plan B. Sometimes really quick in the first like 3 or 4 runs. He needs to understand what sort of defense he's playing against. It's okay. It's Warriors. Okay, they're going to fucking really hunt from the inside.
Well, that's when going to work well this week because they're similar, right?
That's what I mean. He needs to figure us out, and you go, okay, we've got fucking 6 or 7 starters out. So what? They're still all on the same page.
Same system.
Same page. We're all going to come up. We're going to come after him. So he needs to figure out when to pass, when to run, when to go out the back, front guy, all this kind of stuff. So that's the maturation process of this young kid. He's already well ahead of the game for his age.
For sure.
And so it's just a little bit of timing with him, whether to run it and give him different shape. It looks like the same shape all the time. The dummy there, the lead guy out the back, all that shit.
Here we go.
That's predictable.
To my point. So a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I think it was after the Broncos Rabbitohs games, I talked about IQ for the Broncos players. Here's one thing I sort of didn't allude to as well. It's not just the Broncos. There's multiple teams, players in the competition that don't know how to stick to a game plan. Dolphins are the opposite. And this is a great
much.
question
Yeah.
from Uzo Unknown. This is why I put it in there.
Yeah.
Dolphins stick to a game plan to a T, sometimes to a fault, right? And this is where they rely on their defense. They get to certain spots of the field. And I'll give you the example. Steve Kearney come to the Parramatta Eels in 2011, completely changed the style of footy we try to play. Not to say we didn't have IQ at Parramatta, we played a different style. It was offloads, it was predicated on individual brilliance,
Yeah.
and then everyone just sort of floating and getting around
Yeah,
what
Hainsey.
Hainsey did and what Folletti did, right? And so Folletti and Chris Inner had gone to the Warriors.
Yep.
So we watched a shitload of video on what Melbourne Storm did, getting to the right spots of the field to open up certain plays, targeting certain players.
Hoffman.
Right, Cooper Cronk.
Yeah.
We watch so much Cooper Cronk stuff.
Yeah.
The only difference is it didn't matter how good we played that year and stuck to the structures. We were never going to be the Melbourne Storm because we didn't have Cam Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater.
GI
moved on, but we couldn't break. And Hainsey in particular had the frustration with it more than anyone. I remember video sessions where we'd do individual video and I'd be after Hainsey because it was JH thing, Horo, Hain, and then you do the videos. And Mooks would be like, fuck, mate, I'm trying to get through to Hainsey with some of the stuff that we're talking about. He wants to go a different way.
Yeah.
So it's two great examples where the Dolphins stick to a game plan to a T, and they might get out the back end of it, and there's some probably more class or some people in positions where you can eventually pull the trigger and get the job done. And then at the moment the Broncos are so rogue and go off kilter that you got to find a happy medium because, like I said, with the Parramatta system, it's like we were sticking to the plan for a long time. At the start of the year, and we're just like, man, this ain't working. Like, we're never going to break this fucking team down.
Sometimes with the Bronx.
And it's not our style. We still got to allow, so within the structures of what you're trying to achieve and then the spots, and you'll be aware of this. Melbourne do it the best now, where, all right, I want to get at Willie Mason. We want to time Willie into the tackle. We want to make sure he's there. So, therefore, Lukey has to get to A defender, and that's our trigger. Like, that's the person we want to attack.
Yeah.
You have that structure. Every now and again, Mace doesn't get to A, I'm able to burn him, and then the spot's on a little bit earlier.
Yep.
You've got to still be able to pull the trigger with the main part trying to focus in on.
Dolphins don't have those middle forwards. They miss those guys, right? Where you need that sort of. And that's hard to get a Yo and a Cam Murray and a Victor Radley to take a bit of pressure off Katoa.
The ball playing lock.
Yeah,
Yep.
just that because you've got big Razor Ramon Stone in there, and you've got fucking Gilbert and Kafusi, Nichols. They're just hard men.
Yeah.
They fucking hit hard. They can run those simple block shapes, which is quite easy to read. They'll never hit a front guy. Like their middle's pretty one-dimensional.
Max Plath is their guy.
Maxi play,
And he's
the
still
connect.
not like
he's the connect, but he's not a natural connect.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So they miss that sort of guy who can spread the defense out a little bit and catch a ball on C and get to a 4-man and another front row is hitting at the 4 and 3-man, right? And then Katoa can get out the back and they miss that. So he's getting the ball all the time, at three or four times a set.
Yeah.
Fucking too much.
And Jeremy Marshall King creates a lot of stuff around the ruck.
Donahue kid, he's an animal. He just fucking hits like a truck, but he's just come into the game, right? He's a rookie. Played 10 or 12 games. He's just going to be passing the ball and just defending.
I think he's played about 30.
Has he? 30
been
games.
around for a couple of
years. He's a Newcastle boy.
Yeah, Newcastle.
I know. Ogre and I are talking about it. I don't know how many games he's played, but he's not going to be playing that much football. I reckon he could play lock as well.
Yeah.
If Max Plath comes back.
Well, he does. So when they bring on that Harrison Graham potentially, he goes in a hooker. Is it Harrison Graham?
They just have some
Dolphins.
Dolphins play you mentioned. Sorry.
So we're talking about Kurt Donahue starts at 9. Is Harrison Graham on the bench?
I'll just bring up their team now.
Sorry, my point is the Dolphins don't have the cattle to play that sort of football.
Okay.
Where Melbourne, when you said to Melbourne, I'm like, yeah, I was still playing there. They have fucking guns in every position. And they are so detailed, everybody knew what their job was. So if you don't have everyone on the same page, the system fucks up. Yeah. So when Hoffman was running those lines and those gaps were just massive, it's because the middles are doing their thing, right?
Correct.
Jesse Bromwich is doing his thing.
They've got the right person.
You've got Cam Smith running the perfect general in the middle. You know, Cooper Cronk, Billy holding a short side. It was perfect system football. But that's Melbourne football. And everyone tried to copy it. Now everyone tries to copy Panthers.
You gotta find
it's a
some
copycat league, remember?
It is,
you know, like it's like, okay, who's playing the best football? Who's sort of, Penrith. Okay, we love the way Penrith play. Let's try and get an Isaiah Yeo in our team. Let's try and get a Fisher Harris, all these sort of players. And that's what most teams are trying to do.
And a Dylan Edwards style
Dylan Edwards fullback. We don't need a Teddy now because, you know what I mean? That's what people look at. Like, he's the best player. We need to copy off him.
Kurt Donaghy, 23, turning 24.
Okay, but how many games he played?
He has played 25.
25 games. Shit, okay.
Yeah, right in between.
Did he play for Newcastle?
He played. He's been at the Dolphins for 3 years, in and out.
I like him. I rate him.
Yeah, he played 7 games though in 23, 9 in 24, 9 in 25.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
He's ascending too. He's a good player.
Yeah, I reckon he's a good player. So I think he could play. I think he could play that sort of lock player.
Yep.
But then with Marshall King, he's a big loss. Marshall King, he does a lot around the ruck. It's so important to have a real creative 9 for a 7 to go and do whatever he wants. Like with Harry Grant, look how much space Jerome Hughes looks like he has. Because Harry Grant's fucking darting out here, comes this way, bang, hits you going that way. Like it's like they don't have that luxury at the moment. When it's all going very well for the Dolphins, they look good.
All right, Mace, TJM bull bars to suit Prado 250 are available now, and you can get the new fan favourite from Ventura Bar. We're the first bars to market to suit the new Land Cruiser Prado 250 series. So both bars come with integrated recovery points, winch capabilities, and as always, backed by a 3-year warranty. What we need you to do is go on and submit a quick quote online. It takes less than 5 minutes. We were doing a giveaway a couple of weeks ago. Here's a new one. I want you to go on the comment section right now on YouTube. Leave us a comment about your experience with TJM, how you've built your rig. Add the hashtag as well into the comment, hashtag TJM times levels. And then we will give a prize of $569, which will be a TJM portable air compressor. So we'll run that for the next couple of weeks. We will announce the winner on the podcast. So go on, leave us a comment about your experience with TJM. And we thank you, TJM, for joining us for this year. All right, let's get to LACHY Galvin. So it has been official. It was rumoured leading into the weekend, Mace. There was a meeting between the board members, and they were discussing the future of LACHY Galvin at the Tigers. LACHY Galvin has been given the permission to negotiate with rival NRL clubs and may be on the brink of an immediate exit from the West Tigers. So not only for next year moving forward, but it could be before June 30. That's the chat. He will be playing for a new team no later than next season and may even switch clubs for the remainder of this season. Given that Galvin is contracted until the end of next year, the Tigers will reportedly want a transfer fee, which I think is fair, or potentially even a player swap, though ultimately they consider Latu Fainu to be the long-term halves partner with Jerome Luai. Now, the two...
where's he going?
The two favourites are, and it's been even the boys talked about on 360, despite the Bulldogs shutting it down a couple of months ago, there are reports that it's going to be most likely the Bulldogs and then obviously the Parramatta Eels, both your two teams.
Connect the dots.
Which dots, though?
Which dots?
I don't know. No, if you pick up what he's putting down, right? The coaching, the culture, what Galvin's been saying. Pick up the little breadcrumbs and it just sort of leads to Belmore, really. It's sort of like
depends
if I'm
what
like, if you're going, a culture, a coach, I want to be coached, all these little things, right? Like winning team.
We just talked about
everything's opposite. Where we are, the Dogs and Para.
Yeah,
it's not Para's building to where we are.
Okay,
right? And I'm like, I know the Moses connection. I get that shit, but I'm like, that ain't it.
So my big thing is, it depends on what narrative dots you want to connect, right? Like there's a big part of, and this is how the narrative works if you want to push something. So if you wanted the narrative to be coaching, then that's obvious and an obvious way to get out of what's happening with the West Tigers because, Benji's only in his second year. They haven't necessarily got results. But then in a way that rules out Jason Rolls because he's not proven yet, right? He hasn't gone through the system. The big connect and the one that you can't ignore. No, it's the Moses connection. Like, so that's where Parramatta, I still have to, still have to think Parramatta
I keep
huge
thinking
chance.
where Sexton's contract keeps getting fucking, we're re-upping, we're not. It's on, it's off. I'm like, this coincides with this shit, right? I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know. So I'm like, Paul Sexton's just in the firing line where that can be a complete swap. Sexton can go to 7 and Luai goes to 6. Well, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if they wanted what is it? Sort of a player swap, some money. I don't know. Like
for me being a neutral, I like the move for everyone involved. I think Lachlan Galvin is clearly unsettled there.
Yeah.
Lachlan Galvin goes to the Bulldogs. I think I like their chances to win the premiership with Toby Sexton.
Yeah.
I like them even more with Lachlan Galvin.
And the cryptic tweets from the Godfather.
Yeah. The Godfather. He's just playing games.
He's the best. And I'm like, if he's going to throw anyone off, he's throwing it all off.
On the flip side, Toby Sexton to the Tigers I like as well.
Yeah.
I like Toby Sexton at 7. I like Jerome Luai moving back to the 6 role. Latu Fainu, I think
Bide his time.
he could be the dude. I'm not 100%, but we get iron sharpens iron. He gets to go and compete against Sexton, and if not, I think Latu can be a really good 14 for him. Yeah. Looks like they're going to lose Talon De Silva as well off the back of this. Good mates with Lachlan Galvin, so connecting all that. Now, here's what you've got to factor in. Does Toby Sexton want it?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the big domino that needs to fall, because Toby Sexton was on the outer at a club that was struggling for a couple of years in the Gold Coast Titans. He's now established himself. By all reports, and from what I look in, because I've never asked you anything about the Bulldogs in a sanctum, he looks to be like a well-liked player within the building.
He's a very well-liked player.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
So
You're
how does that dynamic affect the Bulldogs if they make a play with a guy that they believe to have a higher ceiling, but is now leaving a situation where he is not as favourable at the Tigers?
If that does happen, right, this is where it comes down to all business, and players are professionals, and you just get along with it. You're like, fuck, Sexton's a cool dude. Didn't work out. All right, Galvin's in, he's out. That's how it rolls. I think now that you don't really just, it's not that big a deal, right? It is a big deal, but I'm just saying how players mentally get along with things. This is happening a lot more than when we were playing this June 30 deadline. You can get a whole fucking new halfback, a 9, a fullback, front row, or whatever, and your best mate's gone. So mentally, you're already prepared for it. It can happen. June 30 deadline, I think players know, I could be out of here. Because everyone's doing these little deals. Like if you're not happy at St. George right now, you slightly, just because you're not a bigger name or as big as Galvin, you're doing the deal. You're trying to get to the Gold Coast. You're trying to get to the Dolphins or Cowboys or whatever team you're trying to get at. Yep. If you think you're an NRL player and you're not getting a crack, you're getting your manager, get me out.
Bryce
I'm not getting a crack.
For example.
Pardon?
Bryce Cartwright, for example.
Exactly. He wants to finish his career on good terms as an NRL player. Fuck, get me out of Para. A lot of players would be at Parramatta on the outer because there's a new regime in there. Going, fuck, what am I doing here?
I want to specifically, because I think this is the domino that affects everything. Yeah. So if clearly, not clearly, Cameron Cirilo didn't rule it out. Gus is doing those weird tweets. People have been linking Galvin to the Bulldogs and Parramatta for a while. It looks like most likely Bulldogs are the favourite. The domino well and truly is Toby Sexton. So what are the positives for Toby if he leaves a team that could potentially win the competition? It's got to be, and the West Tigers have got to feel this way as well, whether they think he could be a good partner or at least a guy to come in and compete with Latu Fainu. But the way you can persuade Toby Sexton to leave a good situation is with money. So they had $1 million worth in the cap that they were willing to offer Lachlan Galvin. You would argue, or not even argue, I would take an educated guess. He was on the outer at the Gold Coast Titans. Toby Sexton somewhere on the range of $350 at the Bulldogs, max. So do the Tigers view Toby Sexton as a 600, like a Fogarty type player? $650, so. $700,000. You think so? If he leaves the Bulldogs and goes to the Tigers?
I think that the Tigers would come to the party and go, Sexton's from a great system. He's learnt the system. He can take that and bring it here. Defensively and everything like what he's learnt and what he's ascending that way.
Yep.
It's just because Galvin is here and going that way. Do you know? If you put all those little things together, it looks like he could be in the blue and white. But who fucking knows? Gus could be just playing these games so he just throws it all off and he ends up at Para.
We cut it from the notes, Ches. I think that's the other domino that's at play because let's say you're a Dolphin.
Yeah,
do you then
yeah.
look at a Sexton and go, fuck, could I
So
take a Sexton?
exactly.
Or,
Sexton and Katoa.
It's DCE's fault.
yeah, can I my controversial take?
Go ahead.
Keep going.
I think the Dolphins Roosters chat out of Queensland camp is a smoke show. Shane Richardson made an offer for Adam Reynolds.
Yep.
Reportedly, they've denied it.
Yep.
A lot of journos said they had pretty good mail. That there was an
I've
offer
seen
there.
that.
Yeah.
Ches is still available for next year. Ches to West Tigers.
Oh, no.
That's huge.
He fucking couldn't. He couldn't. He'd look awful in that
If
jersey.
you're offering Reynolds a contract, you'd offer Ches a contract.
For 1 year, 1 or 2 years,
Well, he only wants one.
with fucking, for 900, give me Galvin's contract. He wants 5. I don't know. Hey,
Do you mind that?
fuck, I don't mind it.
But it's the Origin. Can they go at each other and play together?
Yes, they can.
Who's
You
that?
Put that shit away.
Jerome.
Lure.
Yeah, that'd be a
Come on,
mad combo.
Yeah.
Where'd he go to Tigers?
And it's the Luke Brooks went to Manly. Now he's at the Tigers. This is
Ooh,
what we
I
can
like
do.
that
Imagine I
narrative.
win a premiership. What you couldn't do for 10 years. You got me in.
Ooh, I like that.
I've
You're a
thought about
psycho,
it.
That's
Luke.
petty enough for
You're
Ches
petty.
too.
Yeah.
That's petty
is
enough
he
for
petty?
Ches.
Is
Oh,
Ches
fuck
petty?
yeah. Oh, in
He's
the
fuck-
best possible way. He's one of my great mates, but he does like...
He loves narratives.
He's a thinker. In saying that, and all respect to me, good mate, and he's 35 years old, 36
he's
years
got
old.
no
He's still
two in,
Queensland.
mate.
I think he's requiring the dominoes to fall. I don't think he's the domino. I don't think he's the lead domino. I think he's in a position right now, and it's like he's been around for 15, 16 years. He's waiting.
I think he is. I think he's the big dog.
Do you
Yeah,
really?
fuck, mate.
Do you reckon you've got to see what he does first
I'm like,
before
I
everyone
want
makes
to
it?
know what DCE's doing. If I'm the Tigers, if I'm Redcliffe, if I'm any other team. Because
I'd love to see him play with Katoa.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him play
Push
with
Qatar out to
That's
6.
a good narrative too. Going back to your junior
Yeah.
club, etc.
And Titans, if
And
they've
you
got
know
some
what, man?
coin, I don't know.
You know who I feel bad for because everyone keeps talking about partnering with Qatar. Cody Nicaramu's had a good fucking
He's had a
2 or
good
3
year.
years
Yeah,
as well.
he's good.
He's going to be that sort of Sexton situation where if you've got him in your team, you like it, you don't love it. Like he's a good first grade at this point of his career, but he's probably reached his ceiling. Same as with what Sexton's probably got a little bit more
Yeah.
ceiling because he's younger.
Yeah.
Cody Nicaramu's a fucking
Cody's
good
a
player.
gun, man.
Yeah, but Ches is an upgrade.
Ches is an upgrade to any team. I think he's the domino that needs to fall before anyone makes a decision.
It won't fall during
And
Origin.
it won't.
I found it interesting they said it at the start of Origin camp.
He's smart because no one cares.
So he's not.
It's all Origin.
Ches is still calculated. That's the part. Like
He's the most calculated out of everybody in this thing.
Yeah, he's not going to sit there and say it next to Seabold at a presser, especially after they've been getting pumped.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
It's fun. eh?
It's pretty fun because I want to know what the fuck's going on. I really don't know. I'm just trying to pick up the
I'm with you.
breadcrumbs with the fucking Sexton.
People assume that like he knows.
Yeah, people
Look-
think that I'm having a chat with, hey, Ciro, what are we doing, mate? Are we going to fucking get Sexton?
And people think I've got connections with
Yeah,
Ches,
mate.
and then we
I do pathways, right?
we don't know.
That's it.
And I'm not even that good a friend of Ches. Ches doesn't even consider me your best
Nah.
mate.
He's not even his groomsman. Cross
you
his
wore
head,
his
cross your
wedding.
head out.
After the wedding kit.
Yeah, awful wedding kit.
Oh, yeah.
I gave you a
know.
shout out on that too when we did because the Matty Johns podcast when Jack used me as the example for going to Wharfie.
Oh, yeah.
I said, my man Lukey Stowe sent me that too. Fuck you, Jack. Where are we at?
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Yeah,
There's
well,
dominoes.
she-
Yeah.
It's a domino. Who's the first?
Who goes first?
I think
what,
that,
what are the odds? What are the odds?
I think,
Okay.
I think Sexton makes a decision. I think they make him make a decision on what he's going to do.
Is it up to him?
Who? The Bulldogs?
Yeah.
So you think
No, he's definitely not the first
I
one.
don't think.
He's the last
He
one.
might be the-
Galvin's,
he might-
well, then
he might
Galvin's
be
the
the
guy.
first.
No, sorry. So Galvin's going to be the one, wherever he signs, right? Then
All right.
it'll fall.
I'll set the market.
It'll fall.
I'll set the friendly market for Tab. $1.50 Galvin is the first out of the dominoes
Yes,
to make a
Galvin.
decision between Ches, Sexton.
No, listen,
Reynolds.
this isn't a real market.
Not a
This
real
is
market.
just us.
This is just having a play.
Just clarifying.
Then in order, I think that will decide where Ches ends up. And then therefore Sexton will know where he stands. And then Even
That's
Reynolds, like Reynolds fourth. Like I don't know what the deal is up there with Reynolds. Reynolds could be he could genuinely be considering retirement like Ren.
Depends how he finishes the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how it's going to.
Those are the three,
Galvin's
right?
the one. Galvin needs to make his decision in the next week or two, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Have you seen like the merry-go-round where Newcastle get Dill?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that nah?
No. I don't think Parramatta would pull the trigger on that.
But if you're trying to get Galvin after June 30, you have to. What are you going to do? Have Galvin and Dill?
Say that again.
So if Parramatta, there's the rumour that he's out this season. That he's not playing another game.
Yeah. So Galvin to Parra, Dill Brown to Knights, and then Kai Pearce-Paul to Tigers. That one.
Yeah.
No, I don't reckon Parra would do it.
So that means you're leaning Dogs.
Yeah, because I don't think Galvin's as big of a target or like they're as keen to get Galvin right now and upset anything like that right now.
Fucking hell, it's going to cause some dramas where he signs. Like, and then as you said before, like with Sexton, where does he go straight away? Like,
Is there a Smoky that we're all
There's
not
always
seeing?
a Smoky. There's always a Smoky.
Like, is there any other, like Fogarty's gone now, so...
No, the Smoky is the Dolphins. The smoke, and it's not necessarily the player; it's the team. And if they're able to somehow convince one of these players, if they are indeed interested, e.g. Daly Cherry Evans, e.g. they can convince Lachie Galvin to partner up with. Imagine pitching the Dolphins, pitching Lachie Galvin. Like, I know you want to stay in Sydney or whatever, and you've got your family down there, but you and Isaiah Katoa for the next 10 years, fuck. That's the play. And if you want to keep Katoa, you get him in the meeting. And you get them two together. You two can not only be the Dolphins fucking...
Are they mates off the field?
Don't know. No, Isaiah Katoa, what school? Isaiah Katoa was Blacktown and Lachie was Westfields. So, but they would have played, I'm sure they would have played New South Wales together at some point, potentially coming through. Anyway, if you're pitching it, I'm the Dolphins. Come up here, out of sight, out of mind. Footy's all that really matters. We're not like Brisbane Broncos. You're not going to be in the headlines as much. You two guys can be the halves for Dolphins moving forward for the next 10 years and New South Wales.
I got another one.
Go.
Daly Cherry Evans
takes
over Jackson Hastings' contract.
This year?
No, next year.
No, he's done next year. Jackson's done.
Oh, so they haven't even allowed. But, okay, it was still a narrative.
Chat GPT, get it off.
No. That's fucking...
Yeah.
Well.
No, but as if Kalen's in camp with him going, hey, what are you doing? Feel like coming to Newcastle? 1 year of the best. Then I go to the All Blacks.
You retire, I go to the All
I'm
Blacks.
just stirring shit today.
I'd love to see Ches at Knights.
Be good. That'd be,
Ches at
that'd be
Knights
a
would
different
work.
side, man.
That could be the
You know what?
That'd be a totally different side.
Ches
Dill Brown. Jeez.
Ches, Dill Brown, Fletcher Sharp back on the wing.
Yeah.
Or centres.
Centres, yeah.
Gags is what this is. He got a 2-year deal.
Gags 300 games. Fucking amazing.
Yeah, 300 gamer. Kalen's happy.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Good forward.
Give us your scenarios in the comments.
Yeah, give us
How
a
weird can we get?
Yeah. No, like,
I want to get weird.
what are your predictions?
Yeah, okay.
Give us your predictions of who finishes, and then we'll get some comments and likes. And
Where just give us the domino effect. Where does Galvin
Hang
sign,
on.
and then what
Speaking
happens?
of Gags, he had a mutual option in his contract, and according to the publication, until I feel I lose the passion or can't keep up,
Gags
I still
played till
feel
he's
like
50.
there's another few years. He said in the Herald last week.
He's still killing it.
Gags is a great human.
Yeah, man.
Tough times at Newcastle. He's not the type of guy to
He was involved in that 3 wooden spoons.
was he?
Yeah. 15, 16, 17.
Has he been there ever
Something like
since
that.
you
And then-
left?
No. And then he went down to South for 4 years.
That's right. He did too.
Then he went back, and then they've been all right.
That's right. Walshy.
Yeah. Just don't post it. I don't give a fuck what you're doing, kid. You just don't have to post stuff. When I saw this, I'm like, what's he apologising for? Domestic violence or something, he punched his mate in the head. I was like, oh, fucking who cares? Why is he in trouble? And then they go, he posted it. Oh, that's fucking dumb. You don't have to. I don't give a fuck what you do, punch your mate in the head or not.
This is what we're talking about before. In a
Not
different
condoning violence, but like,
No.
come on, man. Like, how many times have you just like shit like that just happen when you're just out having a good time? All the time. It's young kids just do dumb shit. Why do you have to film it? Why do you have to post it?
Is this a trend too?
Is
Or
this-
did they just come up with it? Did they just randomly do it?
It's not a trend. I
Okay,
haven't seen
yeah.
that.
Because it would be a stupid
TikTok trend.
Yeah. But you know, like, it wouldn't surprise
Yeah,
me.
fuck.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
wouldn't surprise
So
me
what
if
do you
that's
do?
something
Did he
that...
just clock his mate?
So that's the part they're worrying about, right, too. That's a part of this as well. Like when you look at it and go, fuck, come on, Walshy, because you got a really big profile. We love you. It's similar to what we're saying with Terrell May. Understand that the old media is going to view this completely different to the TikTok social media.
In the context of the week the Broncos had as well.
Yeah, and the like with fucking Marty
Injuries,
Tapu as
you know,
well.
like you just don't need that, man. And he knows better. You know, you're having fun and you're doing all this dumb shit. Next minute you're in a press conference saying sorry. You look stupid.
And they should be talking about
When
that
you should be
epic
talking
jersey.
about should be talking about the black jerseys,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you're taking all the heat off the black dog jerseys and depression and everything like that because you wanted to post some dumb shit. Who cares? Like, do you think people actually give a fuck about you punching a mate in the head?
A lot of kids would
Yeah,
find it
well, I think it was
entertaining.
entertaining.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Well, that's unfortunate for him. He should need to start thinking a bit more.
yeah.
Because-
For sure.
Yeah, like he's just like.
Without going over the
No,
top.
no, I'm not just saying.
Without
I'm
going
just
over the top.
Just don't post it, Walshy.
I think
do
he's well
whatever you
aware of
want.
that.
He's probably in a fucking little bit of a wild place now in injuries. He could be having a bit of fun off the field. We don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear from you until you're back on the field and you're killing it.
They're all watching. See all the pages that are starting up now with all the vlogs. They're all like, it's because of the American style.
Yeah.
I show speeds and what's the other Kai Cenat. They're all watching that stuff. Yeah. So what that version of media does is, how can we do something that grabs attention, grabs likes, and how can we up?
Then understand.
They're always looking to one up.
I understand that sort of side of media. But then you got to realise who you are. And
You're a
what sport
professional
you
rugby
play,
league player,
and you're a
yeah.
professional rugby league
What's your
player, not a
favourite
fucking
saying?
streamer.
Who butters your bread?
Yeah, who buddies
Yeah,
your bread?
exactly.
That's one of your favourites.
The Broncos would be filthy at this.
They get
That's
that
what.
done.
I said it again. I don't care what he does. You just don't have to post it.
Yeah, we got
You
that.
can do the dumbest shit in the world in your
All right.
fucking own house.
Let's get to the games.
Let's go.
Let's go. Bulldogs versus the Dolphins, Thursday, 7:50 p.m. tonight at a call. Stephen Crichton, Max King, Kurt Mann, all on Origin duties. 18th man, how good? Jacob Carraz, calf. Daniel Saluka for feet, a concussion from the Spencer Leniu hit. But they get Mutters Curran. He returns of the Josh variety. He will partner Lipoi Hopoi as the other prop. Blake Wilson comes in to the wing for Jacob Carraz. Bailey Hayward starts at lock. Blake Taff starts at the centres. That's a weird one. Jake Turpin and Sam Hughes are the new faces on the bench. As for the Dolphins, Jake Averillo will wear the number 1 jersey for Hammer. Max Fiangai comes on to the wing, into the centres for Hammer. And they also lost Tom Gilbert to that pec injury. So Connolly Lemuelu promoted to the starting side. Oren Keeley added to the bench. Kuli Kefu Fine Fuiaki has been selected to Queensland, but will play.
He's number 20, isn't he?
Yep.
Kurt Mann, 18.
Lukey, what are the ads from Tab, mate?
Bulldogs have favourites at $1.40 with Tab.
Jesus.
Dolphins $3. The line is 7.5.
Disrespectful to the Dolphins. That just shows how much faith they got in the Bulldogs and their system, right? This would be a fucking outstanding win if we get this one. Because the Dolphins, as I said, they're a tough team. And we've got some tough players out and we've got some big names out. So it's just, this will show the culture that we're building and the depth that we've got.
All right, speaking of depth, 20 jersey, because I find Blake Taff in the centre's a head scratcher.
Yeah. Who's
Jonathan Sewer extended bench.
Yeah.
Blake Wilson to the centres potentially. Sewer onto the wing. Could you see that?
I could see that.
Yep.
Yeah. I could see that.
I'm with you, mate. I don't think it's disrespectful because the Bulldogs are first place. They've got a great system. They've won games where a lot of people thought they were going to drop, e.g. the Raiders game, when they're missing a whole heap of players, still got the job done. But I am on the Dolphins in this game.
Yeah.
What's
on the Bulldogs.
What's the start again there, Lukey?
7.5.
Yeah, I think the Dogs will. I think the Dogs. I have so much faith in, because I've watched NRL training before. Like some of these guys that are in this, you got the ones and you got your twos, right? They are competing so high.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's nearly even. So you're going to get these guys like Blake Wilson and who hasn't had a crack all year. Josh Curran comes back, which is good. From suspension.
Gun.
He's
having a really good season.
It sucks that we can't get the Kurt Mann. It would have been good for our depth. But these young kids have been probably, sitting in reserve grade going, fucking, I can't wait to get a crack during Origin.
Well,
now you're going to get your chance.
Against South Sydney, I got to the game early, and I don't get to see training like you do, Mace. But I watched your New South Wales Cup team absolutely destroy the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and there were about 6 or 7 guys from that team that are in this team now.
And I think they're first graders, right? But they've got to prove to Ciro that they belong there, and when the Origin players come back, they'll gladly go back to their positions, but just keep fighting. It's good to see Big Sam Hughes back.
Yeah. What's the what did he do?
I don't know. It's like soft tissue damage, but
okay. All right, good. Yeah, he's a big body on the bench.
Big body that he needs to force his way back in the side because these boys have been playing lights out. So the Dolphins will be they'll be here to play
for sure.
Your favourite one, Syndesmosis.
Syndesmosis, was it? Okay, sorry.
All right, the next game on Friday night, and only the one game because there's only 5 games over the weekend, the Scope Cup, Eels versus Sea Eagles, Friday 8 p.m. at CommBank Stadium. No Mitch Moses and Zach Lomax for the Eels, so Dean Hawkins comes in to the 7 jersey. Sean Russell moves from the centres to the wing, and my man Sam Rani, who's having like Sam Rani, he goes into the centres.
Love him.
Kelma Tuolangi returns from suspension, which pushes Luca Moretti to the bench. Matt Dury also gets a spot on the bench after being dropped to new reserve grade last week. As for Manly, Jake Arthur will take over from Ches. Jazz Tavanga takes over at lock for Jakey Travojevic. Jake Simpkin will start at hooker. And a couple of big names on the bench. Matt Lodge absolutely destroyed New South Wales Cup last week. And Hamoli Olakau'atu, similar to Kuli Kefu, will be welcomed back to Manly, even though a part of the 20.
It's good.
Lachlan Croker, he will play his first game of the year for the Manly Seagulls.
He's had some crazy injuries.
Yep. What are the odds, mate?
Para 265, Manly $1.48 with tab. The line is 6.5.
Oh, I just don't have faith in Jake Arthur, and then I don't have faith in Dean Hawkins or any of the halves. So it's going to be one in the forwards.
So that doesn't matter. Then you just rule those out.
I'm just thinking. I'm just
so
like,
then let's look at the rest of the squad.
Jake Arthur, he surely can steer the Eagles around to get a win there. But this is I know this game. They hate each other. I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think their win last week was enough, going up there, 26-4 against the Cowboys. Surely they can get some momentum. They can get some momentum. Tommy's still playing, so Jake's out. Lodgy comes in, do your job, mate, you big bastard. He's an animal when he wants to be.
Yep.
He should, when I hear that he killed a New South Wales Cup, I'm not surprised. He can kill first grade. He can be a little bright light at the end of the year for him, because they're missing middles. It's just his time just to shine, get back on the bench there. So, I think the Eagles can just get them.
Okay. All right, last week we saluted with the Eels in the Momax bet. Now you remove Momax from the equation, and I'm going to go the other way because those two guys are highly influential. I'm going to go to the 2 guys that have been left out of the New South Wales team and a point to prove. I'm going Manly Seagulls to win. I'm going Tommy Travojevic anytime, and I'm going the Beast on the right, Hamoli Olakau'atu. Both of those 2 guys will be disappointed. They're not a part of game 1 for different reasons, and I think they will be up for this game with so many stars missing, 34 stars missing that are in an Origin team over the weekend. They are 2 guys on talent, on reputation that will be disappointed that they're not a part of it, and I think unfortunately they take it out on the Parramatta Eagles.
And they should be disappointed because Hamole especially. I expect from what I saw last year, I expected a bit of a different approach this year, and some of the choices that he's made, like a couple of short sides, little things, and trying to be a little bit too fancy.
His first month was excellent.
First month was outstanding. He'd be
5
first
to
8.
8.
And he was overthinking shit. He was overthinking. It's like, don't take short sides like that. Mitch Moses and Cherry Evans can do that, but when you're 6'5", you go to the open, son, and direct fucking run at the biggest bloke on the other side or whatever, or skip over the other side. You do that because you got that skill set. That's what you want to see from him. Not short side. I want to get on the open, have a lead runner in the middle, fucking just pick out someone and just elbows straight in the head.
Another really underrated player and not to us, Lachlan Croker. I think he's a huge part of this team.
Yeah.
And it also allows Jazz Tavanga to stay away from the hooking position.
Which he did a good job.
He did a sound job.
Really good job.
But there's, he's not a noted 9. The delivery just wasn't as crisp.
Yeah.
I think when Lachlan Croker comes on, because
what sort of injury did he have? And he's been out for
some
fucking
sort of
ages.
back injury or something like that.
Because I'm like, last year he was out most of the time.
Yeah, and then he had I think he did a different injury later on.
It was an arthroscopic surgery to his left knee before Christmas and was tipped to return by round 4, but then he needed another clean out.
Okay, there you go. Sorry. I thought he did something like a back injury or something last year. Anyway,
he's back.
Yep, that's the way I'm leading. I'm going to lead towards Manly. No Momax, no joy for the Eels this week. Panthers versus Knights, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. at Carrington Park, Bathurst. So we have a number outs in this game for the Panthers. Brad Schneider, he will start at halfback for Nathan Cleary. Dane Laurie, fullback for Dylan Edwards. Milky Jenkins replaces Brian Totwell on the wing. Casey McLean comes into the centres, and Luke Garner moves to the back row to replace Liam Martin.
It's the best fucking name of all time. That's his nickname. That's a proper nickname, isn't it? You found out?
Well, we gave it to him even before he...
You found out it is
legit.
Milky.
Well, legit. That's his nickname.
I fucking love it.
Lindsay Smith goes to lock. Matt Eisenhuth starts at prop. And the 3 new faces on the bench are Summerton, Ricky of the Preston variety, and Jay Cole's back in the team. As for the Knights, Fletcher Sharp will shift to fullback in the absence of Kalen Ponga. Gamble to 6, Cogger to half. Kyle McCarthy comes into the centres, so Dylan Lucas goes back to his preferred position, which is the back row, and Thomas Kent goes to the bench. Leo Thompson is also back from a head knock in place of Jacob Saifidi, who is. It feels like those two just can't play together this year. Saifidi and Leo Thompson.
Side up there, man.
Lukey, what odds have you got there, mate?
Tab Panthers $1.48. Newcastle Knights $2.65.
Shut
the
up.
line is 5.5.
Knights all day.
Knights all
Yeah, all day. I know KP's not playing, but they've got a hell of a decent side there, man.
If they don't win this game,
It's terrible.
this would be
This
like...
would be fucking really bad.
This would be really bad. This is almost like different circumstances, and I know a different format.
Where could they fall
But
in
when
the
Manly lost to Penrith at the start of the year with all their reserve graders in there, and Trent Talal just destroyed a Manly team that didn't have Brooks, Turbo, Ches, but a lot of them were players that were going to play throughout the year. They've got to win this game.
The Knights could end up, if the Eels win, they could end up like at 17.
Isn't there only...
the Titans have got the bye.
I thought there's only 1
Or
point
did the
differential as well. So like
No, they're all on 8. So Dolphins, Knights, Eels, and Titans are on 8. Panthers are on 9.
Gotcha.
So like that's
No, there is. So this is my point with the... So sorry. With the Eels and Titans, there's only 1 point differential. So if Eels... no matter what. Yeah, if Eels lose...
Yeah,
if Eels lose, they're dropping back no matter what. But yeah, with the Knights, they need to get pumped, which won't happen against this rookie Penrith team, surely.
What was against the Roosters?
be a hard
The
game
rookie
out there
Penrith
too.
team?
Bathurst.
What game did the rookie Penrith team give? They gave Melbourne a crack.
The rookie Penrith team gave Melbourne a crack.
This ain't the same.
Yeah, when
team,
Nathan
mate.
went down. Yeah, they still had
ain't
Joey,
the same
Liam
team.
Martin, Mitch
Yeah.
Kenny, the whole heap of players in that
Yeah.
game. This is like...
Proper.
This is actually their New South Wales Cup team sprinkled in with...
Yeah, Milky Jenkins.
Milk.
Lugana, yeah.
Milky's a mainstay.
Yeah.
And Moses Liotta. Moses is still there.
Yeah.
Moses is still
Lindsay
there.
Smith, I expected him to
Lindsay.
ascend a little bit more.
Yep.
Particularly coming off that Australian jersey.
Yep. Agreed.
Knights need to win this because they got a better. I mean, fuck, it's bad if they lose and the Eels win. All right.
So I agree with you. When I looked at these lineups, I went that Newcastle, everyone within the building cannot afford to lose this game.
It's a bad loss if they get this.
It's
if they lose this one.
It's a bad loss.
Imagine
It's a bad
the
loss. I was going to
bus
throw
ride home or like the flight home from Bathurst.
Oh, that's right. It's out regional.
Yeah. Did you catch the bus out to Bathurst from you?
with all the bad weather going on at the moment.
Like a
That's
Bathurst
North Coast.
You're
forecast.
flying. No, you're flying out
Is that
west.
North
You're flying
Coast?
west. Bathurst. Northwest, isn't it?
Is that too far away from where all the drama's been happening in North Coast?
No,
Shout
you're
out-
flying to Richmond Airport potentially.
Don't
because-
Bathurst have a fucking plane?
No,
Bathurst is south, man.
No, but I'm talking about like I think all the like flooding and all that is affected like the Hunter region and north and that.
Well, my brother's up there, and
Yeah.
Taree and everything's getting flogged. Bathurst is south.
No, yeah. So like Newcastle coming in, like, is there bus options? Is there planes?
Well,
Can they-
Kalen was delayed for go up to Queensland.
That's what I'm getting at. So
flying.
he
He's
had to be
flying
delayed
out.
a day because of the airports and all that sort of stuff. So what does preparation look like for Newcastle? Despite all that, I
Get
still
the fuck
think
out of there now.
Newcastle will have a better team.
They'd probably bust that.
To Bathurst, 5 hours from Newey.
Well, if you imagine going to Newey Airport, where you fly, like you'd have to
Fuck,
land in
Bathurst have
Rich.
an airport or what? Orange?
Oh, you'd fly to Orange
Yeah.
potentially. Oh, there is a regional airport. Would they?
You
like,
got
go
Rex
that route?
up there in Newey. You're flying. You're
T-Rex?
not on a bus. You're not on a fucking bus.
I'm going Uncle Gus.
Yeah? You're going to...
I think Uncle Gus potentially 5.
Yeah, no.
If you go early,
I wouldn't be doing that. Players wouldn't be doing that.
Well,
back's
Bathurst forecast is 14.
You worry about your hammies coming off that.
yeah.
It's not good. Not good.
Is this Friday or Saturday game?
Saturday.
Saturday's a bit of sunlight about actually.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Newcastle must win. Penrith Reggie's team. Respectfully for those who aren't Reggie's players.
Got to win.
Newcastle, despite all that, I can't declare Newcastle just out and out winners because I haven't seen enough from them, and I actually went against them last week against the Parramatta Eels team that were dominant. So I'll take the 5.5 for the Newcastle Knights. And the two most consistent players all year when fit have been Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Lucas. Give me the Newcastle incumbent fullback for this week in Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Lucas in his preferred position back in the back row. Those two guys will they'll be ripping and a tearing, and I hope they can get over some anytime jam with the plus 5.5 about the Newcastle Knights. Yep. The next game is the Roosters versus Sharks at 7:30, 5 p.m, and this is at Industry Group Stadium in Gosford. They always play. I think they always like to play a couple of games up at Gosford. The Roosters, don't they? They must have a partnership up there. All right, 5 players missing for the Roosters, and Uncle Nick wasn't happy too. Did you hear Uncle Nick Politis blowing up about scheduling,
Did you see all the stadium stuff yesterday as well?
about Allianz
Yeah.
and the Origin?
Yeah.
No, what was it?
Oh no! So
About South.
Oh yeah, have you
we
seen this?
forgot that topic. Yeah,
I've got it. Here we go. This is perfect time to do it.
yeah. So are you going to show what the social media
Yep,
was?
yep.
Is it about South and Allianz?
And
I saw a little
Allianz.
bit like that.
Yeah, yeah. There's some
Did
good
you
back-
just-
Was it a message from the CEO? I was
Yeah. So the Roosters, the South posted that get on board the petition,
Check this out.
oh, it's a
and then
petition.
watch what the Roosters did.
Okay.
I love.
And
I
then
love,
South
this is-
came
this
back
is good
again
stuff.
too.
This is good stuff. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Mute it if you can. The sound doesn't because it'll.
So slide down to that one.
Yeah.
So slide up and then slide back. So
Jesus.
That can
So-
proper ruin your account too.
so
It's ruthless.
so the Rabbitohs are trying to put in a petition and trying to get signatures to play at Allianz next
yeah.
year. Roosters are like, no. Check this out. This is the best part of it.
The Souths.
South in the comments section go, thanks for sharing, Roomy.
Wonder who gets the okay from that.
Oh, yeah, you have to
God.
speak to the CEO. Like, it'd be the media team for both before they post anything like that. That is such a good response.
it's good.
Then they had another funny response. The old, it's like an old video of people smashing keyboards and stuff, and the guy in the office looks over the side.
I love
Did
that
the
little
South do
argument.
that?
Yeah, Ready watches. The Roosters
good
guy
stuff.
pops back up.
Rage.
That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Healthy banter.
South
Roosters
win 2-0 on that exchange too.
Yeah,
by the
but
way.
they don't have a stadium, so.
Yeah,
then
they
they
don't
lose.
have Allianz.
They lose
They don't have
3-2.
Allianz.
So what?
mate.
Like I saw Clary's the official Roosters podcast. They said something about that they've paid money to be there. Is there a thing there?
No, taxpayers paid money for the be there. It's a government thing.
Then is it literally? Just
I'm pretty sure. Like even Fletch was talking about it on the run home one time. Like I'm not totally across it. All I know is I believe taxpayers' money paid for Allianz,
Yeah,
and
it's not like your Uncle Nick just went here.
but Uncle Nick's got the reputation where he just like Uncle Nick does what he wants, and he's like South, no.
Not
Go
while
play
I'm
the court.
alive.
Because he's the quadruple AG.
Yeah. And the hatred is deep. Deep.
Proper. And I love that there's hatred.
Yeah, it's good. They
I
should.
love that banter.
They should.
Yeah. All right, Roosters versus Sharks at Gosford. 5 players out on origin duty. So Dom Young comes back into the team on the wing. Marky Mark moves to the centres. Makahisi Makatoa, Salisi Faketi. We've got a rookie here. New name. Benaya?
Yeah, Benaya.
Potentially. Iulu? I think that's an I. Iulu. Apologies, young fella, but congrats on your debut. He will join Taylor Lasalu into the 17. Back row, Nat Butcher also returns. Iulu will make his NRL debut off the bench. Ethan King is the 18th man. And a couple of brothers in the extended bench. There's huge raps on both of these two youngsters as well, and Toby and Thomas Rodwell. They are, I believe, they're the sons of Brett.
Brett Rodwell, kids, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
The Knights and Illawarra player, ex-halfback. You know what I love? I mean, everyone's going, the standard of footy drops with Origin and you know, all the best players are missing. But, like, you don't get things like this.
Yeah.
You know, like these two brothers get to debut together. All these
they're extended bench so far.
Yeah, but, like, just say people getting their debut jersey and everything like that. I think your debut jersey is probably one of the most important things in your whole career. You work so hard for it. So a lot of these guys get that opportunity and club gets to give it to them, and it's a big deal. So
let's bring that back because I got something from Victor Radley after this. Jesse Ramian has been named despite sustaining the eye injury against the Storm. Sam Stonestreet, no good, 6 to 8 weeks out. So Moani Hiroti comes back into the side. Back row, Teague Wilton, he's amongst the extended squad, so he's a chance of returning from the shoulder injury. Odds, Lukey?
3.30 the Roosters. Cronulla are favourites with tab at $1.34. Line is 9.5.
9.5. Cronulla should win this.
Cronulla should.
Adam, Nico, Braden Trindle,
yeah,
Kennedy.
they don't lose much.
Yeah. This is where they should dominate this period and really go cement their top 4.
Yep. It's where Nico should be. Like, he said some good things. Well, I was pretty happy with when it comes to Origin and stuff. He can just sort of get in and just not even think about Origin.
He said it right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, fucking good. You're in that mindset. Dominate for the Sharks, and then they'll start talking about you when they fucking need you.
Yeah.
Or if you make them talk about you.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way you can do it, by winning with the Sharks and dominating.
You know what he needs to tick to, right? They go on a big year. They've had 2-3 good years since he's been there. Yeah. A strong finals campaign.
Yeah, big time.
Will tick a box for him to even be considered again for Origin next year.
Yeah, big, massively.
Victor Radley said exactly what you said, mate. He talked about, like, there's all this complaining about scheduling and about Origin and all that sort of stuff. He goes, I love these games because we get to play with young kids who get given their opportunity for the first time. It's a grueling season in the NRL, but sometimes you get a lift from when you get young players coming to and get an opportunity.
Jersey and stuff like that given to them. That's why I think it's a big deal. We always joke about, like, you know, the 50 gamers and all that sort of shit, but, like, the debut jersey is probably the most important one.
Most important.
The grind to get to where they are.
Fucking oath.
It's hard, man. And they never celebrated it when I was coming through. And I'm like, well, that's fucked. But it was just the way it was, right? But I'm glad that they do it now.
Yeah, same.
You know, because I'm like, that's one jersey that I'm like, yeah, that's a special moment. I wish clubs had done a bigger deal, but it's just a fucking part of culture where I come through. Like, no one give a fuck. You got the call 2 days before, turn up to train, and then you play. That's how I got my debut jersey. Not even given to me, just give you a jersey. But that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Now times have changed because they understand fucking how hard it is to be an NRL player.
For sure.
And the grind to get there, the sacrifices that your parents have to make and yourself and the grind, it's not for everyone. And when they get there, make a big deal of it. So it's good.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. We're both on the Sharks in that game. Yeah. Warriors versus Raiders, Sunday, 4 p.m. at Go Media Stadium. This is the game of the round because even though affected, not heavily affected by Origin in particular, only one from each team. But there are 2 changes to the side that beat the Dolphins for the Warriors. Bunty Afoa, he returns from a knee injury, and Jackson Ford from concussion. So James Fisher-Harris was suspended for that hit on the Dolphins right at the death. And Mitch Barnett is on Origin duty. So also look out for Ali Leataua, who is enlisted amongst the reserves. They had a good week too as well. They re-signed both our man Jacob Laban and Leka Halasima through the week.
Yeah,
the Warriors.
That's good.
Re-upped them for, I think they're set
till
for the
29.
next...
Yeah, 29. That's good.
Great
really
signings.
good.
As for the Raiders, they only lose Hudson Young, which means your man, Simi Sasangi. A couple of your young favourites are in this game. He moves into the starting side, and 20-year-old Noah Martin, I believe he's got the mullet of doom, come off the bench in the trials for him, the three brothers.
Is that him? Is that one of them?
Played on a 19th Origin last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
So
Big fucking human.
So congrats, Noah. He will make his debut as well.
Well done.
Warriors $1.74, Canberra are 2.10 with tab. The line is 2.5.
I'm going Raiders. They're built for this shit. They are built to go over to the Warriors and upset them. Yeah. They've got, this is the Raiders game. I reckon if anyone can go over there, the a man down, Huddy Young, but you still got Tarpanay and you still got Big Papa and good back
Horsburgh,
five.
an angry Horsburgh.
You know, the bra gets, you know, he'll be in there. The young Sasangi.
He wasn't even considered in the 20 horse, bro.
No, he'd be filthy. So I reckon the Raiders upset.
And remember, I just thought of this then. Remember that fucking stink that Horsburgh got in last year?
Oh, yes.
That was Laban.
Oh, was it?
That was Laban
Yeah.
in New South Wales Cup.
Yeah, he
Was
flogged
it
it.
really?
Laban was just like, what are you doing? And then Horsburgh was just losing his shit, remember? And he got suspended for like 4 or 5 weeks. So
Two-piece on him.
there's going to be some feeling in this
Oh, you
game.
got to get back, son. Don't fight.
No, don't fight.
Legally. Good
But
hit.
yeah, that was a big omission too, right? Horsburgh?
Yeah, it's unspoken.
Because I can't split this game,
Yeah.
you know what? This is one of those games where it might seem crazy to you guys, but I'm tipping the Warriors, but I'm taking the Raiders plus 2.5 because I think it's going to be a nail biter. So I've gone Canberra plus 2.5, an extra couple of points, and I've got the Tearaway celebrating his new contract extension on the left edge, the problematic right edge for the Canberra Raiders, LACHY any time. And the Warriors are sort of that weird team. You don't really look at anywhere in particular where you can break them down, but I think there could be some joy around the edges. They shift early, and Ethan Strange comes peeling down the middle and gets a little pass on the inside from either of his wingers in a supporting sort of try. So
Yeah.
Canberra plus 2.5, Ethan Strange anytime, Leka anytime, $41.
I like it. I don't like the fact that the Fish is out and Mitch Barnett. You know,
That's fair.
And Wade Egan has been in great form off the back of quick play the balls. He's been really engaging himself after that, and they've been flying Metcalf all through the ruck.
Mitch
So I
Barnett's
think-
huge.
Yeah, so I think with the slowing of the ruck, where I think Raiders will win that battle in the middle.
Yep.
Because of Tarpanay and because of Horsburgh, and you got Big Papa in there, and Starling's been fucking outstanding. I think they'll win that, nullify Wade Egan, and they'll just be a real yuck game. And they might win by like fucking 4, something like that.
Okay. Well, that is it for this round. That is the preview for round 12. This is it, mate. This is the last round before we get into Origin next Wednesday. Little change in scheduling for next week. We will be filming Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning?
First thing Tuesday morning. So we're going to just have a little bit of a delay on the Monday. We want to get as much information about the two teams.
Yeah.
For Wednesday, before we do our predictions for man of the matches, for score lines, for Wally Lewis medal. We'll go on early Wally Lewis medal and all. But we'll have that on Tuesday morning. We'll be filming and dropping Tuesday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your footy.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.